think I got you loud enough.
I'm loud enough in mine.
I'm loud enough in mine.
Hey, let me turn my phone to silent, dude.
You got to do that, man, because there's rules around here.
I
You got to
mean-
be civilized people.
Come on. Is it okay if I leave it sitting right here, though?
Yeah, I think you're good.
It won't affect the camera or nothing?
No, man.
I just want to make sure something crazy's going on at home.
You never know, dude. And I think I was coming back from your house one time, and there were cops all over the side of the interstate. It was like sheriffs, everything. And I found out later from a buddy of mine who's a Marine. He said, yeah, some dude had like escaped or was on the run, and they were chasing him out there. And I remember thinking to myself, those boys who were chasing that other human through the woods off 840, that was like the day of their life, man. Like there's like we know people like that.
Yeah.
Like that just that to them is the ultimate.
It's finally happening, man.
Like, oh, Brother Warthdale, running them down, shooting them out of the barn.
We've been waiting for this moment.
Their whole life.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is, man.
Dude, I've said it 1,000 times, how remote you can get in Tennessee, like how quick you can. Like
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, I mean, you leave Nashville, and within 15 minutes, you're like in the country, in some directions out of Nashville, of course. But I mean, like, quick. When we ride our motorcycles, it's just like, where can we find a back road? Man, you don't have to look. They're there.
Dude, I love that.
I
You know,
do
I still
too.
have a stick. My car's a stick. I love just going through the back roads,
Yeah.
changing gears, hitting the right gear, just that feeling. What is that?
I don't know. I think it makes us feel like kids again. I mean, you remember riding a go-kart or those little, it was a Hot Wheel, had the one wheel on the front.
Tearing it up.
Hit the brake, man. I think it kind of makes us feel like that again. You know, that's a perfect example of that is I liked when we lived in Central Florida for 8 years, and we had motorcycles there, and we rode all the time. I mean, it was my main mode of transportation. I had an old pickup truck that we used to haul the trash off and stuff, but I rode a motorcycle every day. But, dude, it is so mundane because everything's flat, everything's straight. And then when we moved up here, it's like, first of all, you didn't have to wear a helmet in Florida either, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like that in California too, isn't it?
yeah, several states are like that. I mean, you know, people who don't ride bikes and even people who do are saying, what an idiot, man. But, you know, I wear a helmet. I mean,
Did you wear it in Florida or
No, I didn't.
So what's the mentality there? Is it just like, don't tell me what to do? Or is it like, hey, man,
I try to be level-headed about it. I really think it's because it is more dangerous to ride here than it is in Florida because everything is flat, everything is straight. You have a lot of reaction time. Whereas here, you're topping a hill with a curve, and you know, I think it's legit. But I would wear a helmet here if it wasn't a law. I mean, it's just more dangerous.
so if guys were coming, if they were going to like Daytona for Bike Week or something,
Yeah.
and they were coming through, because Kentucky, I don't think you have to wear a helmet in Kentucky
Yeah,
either.
I'm not sure about that.
I don't think you do. But if they were coming through Tennessee, would they know, like, oh, okay, when we get to Tennessee, we got to stop, put our helmets on?
They
Or do they
better.
just.
They better, for real. Law don't play with that. Popo don't play with that.
Is it state troopers? Is that mostly who'll get you, I guess, because you're on the interstate, or just anybody?
The trouble I had, man, I ran into a beef like that one time. Didn't wear a helmet. Wasn't going far. I went to pick up a bike for a dude, and he didn't even know how to ride, man, and bought this trike. It was sweet. It was just cool. It was, a homemade.
What was it, like a Harley Davidson or something?
No, it was like a Honda that somebody really, they really customized it. It was pretty fun to ride, but that sucker got me in a lot of trouble. I was coming through Greenville, Tennessee, man, and city cops were on me. You'd have thought, oh, Lord, you'd have thought I'd done killed somebody. For real. They were popping up in their lights on. I'm like, oh, Lord. And, they were serious about it. I got a ticket, and it was a serious ticket, too. I mean, it wasn't just a little deal. I had to pay a lot of money. And so I don't know. In my experience, it was local police. I don't know, bro.
Dude, have you ever run from them?
No, I don't. I ride cruisers, man. That's not a real run from the cops bike. But yeah, even if I did, man, at my age now, I'm too old. But when I was younger, if I knew I could just speed up quite a bit and he'd never catch me, I would. I mean, I did that one time. As a matter of fact, Claude Strange was a state trooper in our little town up there in Newport, and I was friends with his son Chuck, and he knew me and I knew him. The state trooper did, Claude. He eventually became the sheriff of the town, but I saw him. We met, and I was pretty close to my girlfriend, my wife's house, and I just thought, I'm going to speed up, because by the time he gets turned around, he's going to think I went on up the road. Well, he knew me well enough to know where I was going, because he knew her too. So he followed me up. I mean, he knew exactly where I was going. Right before I pulled in our driveway, he pulled me over. He said, Tiger, please tell me you wasn't running from me. I said, no, sir, I was speeding, but I wasn't running from you.
Yeah.
You don't have cops like that much anymore, I mean, you do. Let me take that back. I regret saying that. You do, but there's seems to be a lot more that aren't that way. They're just, out to show people. I don't know what it is. I mean,
dude, we used to live where we lived down in East Nashville. We'd have I was telling somebody this the other day, that we would have run-ins with the cops quite a bit. Like, they'd have the little party van, like the little Astro van running around, and you'd get pulled over because it's a historically black neighborhood, and we'd get pulled over going in. I don't know what the rationale there was. White family going in, maybe they thought we're getting drugged, but we would get pulled over, and then they would like see your license, see you lived over there, and just let you go. So I don't know. I've had some. I think I rolled through a stop sign over off Jefferson Street, and a bike cop pulled me over, and I tried to make some kind of story out, and he's like, "No, you rolled through it."
I ain't buying it.
And he checked my license, checked everything. He goes, "I'm gonna give you a warning today, man, but you need to start stopping." I don't know, man. I feel like I've had more. Maybe it's a flip of a coin, man. I don't know, but I feel like I've had more experiences where cops have been generous,
right? Yeah,
or have been cool.
For me, it's probably about 50-50.
But maybe most of my encounters with cops have been, but like down in Nashville.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm thinking about it, that really is. I mean, I've got pulled over for speeding just like anybody else, but I've never had anything crazy. I've never been searched ever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not talking about that.
But like, maybe because they're in downtown Nashville, they're a little more lenient, because they can't just nightstick everybody and throw them in the drunk tank, or they wouldn't have anybody down there, man. Nice. Dude, it's wild. It's wild down there, man.
Yeah. I should say one of my dear friends is a police officer. I mean, I have a lot of respect for him.
I love cops, man.
I do too. He's a great guy.
It takes dude. I knew a dude who was a youth minister, and then he became a cop.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know that. And I saw him at a pizza joint one time, and I was drunk, bro. And I knew him from the Christian college. Hey man, nothing. Go ahead.
Okay, because I want to say something.
What?
God bless our civil servants, all of them. I don't want to be one. I mean, they don't get paid right. They don't get the respect they deserve.
I agree.
But I'm very thankful for them. But even though I wouldn't really want to be a police officer, that's just not my calling. But if I was going to be one, I'd want to be that motorcycle cop.
Yeah. I think that's fun, man.
Oh, don't you know it?
They ride high, dude.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
what are they riding? Are those Harley Davidsons?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
They don't screw with anything else?
No. Well, it's a police issue.
God, you know what they ought to do, bro? They ought to have vests, and it ought to have a rocker under it, say Nashville.
They should, bro.
Yeah. Just that dude, that's the America that I identify with, bro. Like, nah, man. Y'all want to play games? Nashville motorcycle cops are the real deal.
They got some street cred.
Yeah, start rehabbing some of these dudes. But hey, man, you want to be a Nashville cop, nightstick everybody down on Broadway, bro?
Dude.
Bro, you stand in that alley, I'll stand in this alley. When they come out, we're going to nightstick them in the legs, bro. We'll throw them in the drunk tank. Get some money out of them. It's crazy.
Oh, man. Of course, we're just messing around.
Absolutely.
We have mad respect for our police officers.
Dude, I love cops, man. I do jiu-jitsu with a guy that's a cop. And I think it's kind of an unspoken thing, man, because I've had several people say it to me, but when we roll with that dude, it's like you don't go easy. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's real deal to him.
Yeah. He might need the practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a dude do his neck like an accordion too, man. I'm not joking. I was like, oh,
Yeah, you've told me about the jiu-jitsu.
it's fun, man. It's so fun.
Bro, I have a hard time putting my socks on standing up. I don't think I'd be in.
I hurt. I told somebody I feel more 37 now than I ever have in my life.
Wait till you get 53, man. You feel it. You really do.
I might have to juice, man, or something. I don't know.
You don't already?
No, I never have. Never have.
That surprises me.
Yeah.
No, I'm just playing. I know you don't.
Bro, you asked me about my Steven Tyler.
Yeah, what is that? I like
No,
it.
man, it's this was Ashley's grandfather's flag. I don't know what he had it for. It was just at his house.
Was he a veteran?
Yeah, he was, man. He was in the Army, I think. Yeah, he was in the Army.
Killer. Well, that's...
Yeah, he passed away in 2019.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was 95, 96. It's wild, man.
Lived a good life.
Yeah, he was great. He did my taxes till he was 93.
Did he
He really did.
Well, how come after...
He was so sharp,
How
man.
come after 93 you said, oh,
I don't
Joe had a
I don't
big
remember. It was a
fall now?
mistake or something. I don't know.
You didn't. You got audited that year.
Not like 93 the year either. I mean, like, he was 93. I wasn't doing taxes in 93. I was only 10. Just in case anybody was confused as to what I was saying. But no, so I put this Ronnie Van Zant, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was scatting a rug down in a place called Jugs. Dude, I love it, man. God, he would have the whole flag, bro. He would have the whole flag wrapped up around
Yeah, I
this.
remember that.
It looked crazy.
Dude, that band was just such a mark in time.
God, but I was listening to Saturday Night Special. Bro, I get so excited about songs sometimes that I'll just send them to you. I'm just like, so I gotta share this with somebody. And like I started putting some of them up on Instagram, man, just to I'm like, okay, I'm wearing Tiger out. I'm wearing Matt Perry out. My wife don't care. Like, I gotta send this to somebody. This song is insane. And man, you know how I do, man. I just dig. And so I'll find something crazy and send it to you. But I was listening to that Saturday Night Special, and I was like, this is the formula that Metallica used for like every single one of their songs. They just cranked up the disdain and everything else.
Yeah.
Like the format, the composition format of those Skynyrd songs is not Heart of Gold. That's not James Taylor.
Right.
Or like the Eagles. Or it's not just like four bars 4 times. Like just this it's like an epic.
Yeah. Every song nearly.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. What is that?
What was their first album or maybe their second? That every song on it was a hit.
Dude, they're insane. It's, sometimes, dude, I fantasize about what bands would have been afterwards. Like, I have this theory that I think Jimi Hendrix would end up sucking and nobody would have cared about him.
Yeah, I've thought about that,
Like,
too.
he'd have been kind of like a Van Morrison where he'd have just, he's all right. Like, he did some really crazy stuff. They'd play his songs, but it'd just be like, I don't know, man. I don't know why I think that, but at the same time, he was nuts, man. Like, he was really good.
Oh, yeah, he's in the top 3 for me. I mean, one of the 3 that for me, Jimi Hendrix and Eddie Van Halen, and I was thinking about this just the other day, and there was a third one. I think I thought it was Duane Allman. Just because they changed the direction of popular music at that time. Chuck Berry was the same way.
I love Chuck Berry.
Yeah. When I listen to Chuck Berry, I mean, I give guitarists mad respect. I mean, you play guitar, and it takes a lot of work to play at a high quality. And Chuck Berry wasn't that all over the neck, but, man, he totally changed
It's
the
like
direction.
Keith Richards.
Yeah.
Like, I see them in the same light.
Yeah.
Just steady. It's almost like a Charlie Watts on drums, but in like a guitar form.
Yep.
Just steady as a stream, man. It's crazy.
Every great band has that player in the band that's just that driving force.
Who do you think it was for Pink Floyd?
I think it was David Gilmour.
Yeah, dude. You know, I really.
But you know what? See, you've got me doubting what I just said because I was thinking on the way over here. I was listening to some Allman Brothers, and the Allman Brothers. I mean, the reason I think they're such a great band is because every piece of that band was just elevated. Every member of that band was at this elevated height. They were all excellent. But when you listen to those songs, we were listening just a moment ago to Statesboro Blues. It's that bass, man. Barry Oakley was the locomotive behind that band, man. Just that steady, keeping everything going. And, you know, Dwayne and Greg get a whole lot of the credit, but Barry Oakley.
Dude, I think Dickie Betts is underrated too, though, man.
He is.
He was just lightning in a bottle, I think.
He was, man. He was. As a guitar player, he was great. I just didn't care for his singing. I'm like that, though. I'm particular about vocalists.
I get it. I liked him. Dude, he's got a couple good records, just his own records.
Yeah.
I mean, they still sound very, I'm trying to think of the names of them right now. I can see it in my head, but I can't think of the name of it. It's like Second Calling or something like that. And then those aren't the ones with, what's his band, Great Southern or the Dickie Betts band? And
I don't know. I don't follow him.
What? What?
I know, bro.
Dude, his son's cool.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about that band?
I like you said, his son's cool.
Bro, he was kind of a hellraiser, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think they all were.
Do you think that was the scene of all music at the time?
Yeah. That's what scares me about my son being a musician.
Yeah, but it's not like that now, man.
I know.
Because all the Me Too stuff. I had somebody say that the other day. I'm not saying that stupid band's name again.
Okay.
Greta Van Fleet. God. But, man, they were saying, like they had all these pictures of them on Instagram and stuff, man, where they're, like, posing and being weird out at, like, Opryland Hotel. And it's just... And the dude who cuts my hair, he was just like, man, they're, like, hearkening back to a time in music that doesn't exist anymore.
That's a good way to put that. I really appreciate that because that's well put.
It's not. It's like, you know, me and you will see like Blackberry Smoke or somebody who's like in the moment, you know, versus like, what's that friggin', what is that band, like something, Steel Panther, like that.
I'm not familiar with that.
Man, so it's like, do you remember that band, The Darkness?
Nope.
So they were that band that was like, I believe in a thing called love. You don't remember that song?
No.
Oh, dude, I wish I had my phone. I'd play it right here, right now. So it was like they were acting like they were these 80s heavy metal bands.
Uh-huh.
So Steel Panther, like their album covers are like them in like leathers and like they got all, you know, the like makeup and all this, like women like begging at their legs and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, that doesn't exist anymore, man. That's at this point, that's just almost like a Broadway show. You know, it's like you're mimicking something that used to happen that is not.
Yeah, it's hard to respect that, isn't it?
Yeah. Dude, you know, I've been in a scene that I feel like was a scene and then it was just done. And that was CRB.
Yeah.
Man, that was the closest I'll ever come to experiencing anything like the Dead, man. It was really weird.
Oh yeah, you followed them. I mean,
yeah, it was
loyally.
Yeah, it was fun, man. And like, you know, what's weird is like when you go to concerts, you don't always get exposure to the people.
Right.
But I've hung out or been there like early or eaten at a restaurant that they would be eating at, or you know, been in a record store with them in the record store just because we're just like in the same area that day.
Right.
And I don't know, man. It's wild to kind of get that level of, you know, depth to it too. Like where I've had conversations with Neil Casale. He's dead now, you know.
Yeah.
It was to the point, man, I was almost embarrassed. I did get some records signed by him, including Neil, all of them, and it was almost like I was kind of embarrassed to ask. It'd be like me asking you, you know what I mean? Not that we had any kind of friendship like that. Like I didn't have any kind of, you know, naive thoughts like that. I just wanted to enjoy their music and encourage them about what they're doing because it was cool.
Dude, that was really weird how that band ended. It was just,
yeah, man.
Gosh, it just everything. I mean, yeah, a lot happened there all at once.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people have chaos in their life, man. And I can only imagine that living on the road adds to, I mean, just what natural chaos is already there. You know what I
Right.
mean? I
Yeah.
mean, like my stupid JBL speaker going out. It's like a $400 speaker. I didn't plan to replace that. Not
Right.
not that that speaker is chaos in like a whole band collapsing. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like the unexpected happens. It's kind of like the natural state of us, right?
Yeah.
And so in a band, you're traveling around, you're missing home. What is home? All that, you know.
And a lot of the, well, I'm not speaking from expert experience, of course, but it seems like what happens when you're elevated, you're that big band at the moment, or the Rolling Stones, who are the big band forever, you know. There is all of that glamour, but after that ends, I imagine that you go back to a kind of traveling road show. That would have to get really monotonous, you know, living in a camper or, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, but it could be cool too. I mean, I guess depending on your dysfunction at your house.
That's true, man.
You know, if you and your old lady are at it.
My 17-year-old would say, "Shut up, old man. What are you talking about?" I'd do that. I mean, and he would, and you know, yeah, he would love it. And I'm like you said, it's a great experience. It's not for this guy though. You know, if you're putting me up in the Hyatt every night, you know, let me eat good food. That's a constant vacation. But man, that grind, I couldn't do it.
I was sleeping in my car in San Francisco before it was cool, bro.
I have respect for bands who do that too, man. I'm not dissing them. I'm just saying that would be hard for me. But you know, I can drive to downtown Nashville and get out. My knees are killing me and my hips, and so nobody could take my word for it. But I have respect for them. I mean, we've seen some bands that are in that. When I say marginal, I don't mean their talents, but that marginal area of popularity. And they work hard. I mean,
oh yeah,
they work really hard and have a lot of respect.
Who are you thinking? Like Marcus King or
yeah,
somebody like that?
Yeah, like Marcus King, Tedeschi Trucks, Warren Haynes. You know, they're not.
Dude, when you were talking about guitar players earlier, I was thinking about Warren Haynes. I cannot, for the life of me, I don't understand. I really don't. And I don't think I ever will. How that man, him specifically, can keep all of the song, like when he's doing his full tours. Like I've seen him jump from doing Grateful Dead tribute shows to, you know, him and like John Scofield doing a tour. I saw him at the Ryman doing that. Yeah. And then like, you know, he's covering like Radiohead and all this stuff. I don't see how he keeps that many songs in his head.
I know. Yeah.
Like how can he play them? And he plays them well.
Yeah.
And then I saw him at the Tabernacle when they did Black Sabbath, bro. And I mean, and I sent you those recordings.
Yeah.
And it's just, God, I don't understand.
Yeah, he can play anything, and it sounds just...
I mean, what is that? Is that like a complete mastery of the instrument? But it's beyond that, too, because he gets the sound right, too.
Yeah.
And I think that's a whole other thing.
The whole dynamic. I mean, when he plays, when you see him live, it's different than listening to the album. I think it is. Same with me for Blackberry Smoke. I'll travel, you know, a couple hours just to go see them in concert. I love them live, but I don't listen to them a whole lot in my daily music. I don't know why, but they're just one of those bands. And for me, it's what they're putting out. I mean, it's you know, you've experienced the music the same way I do, and others too. Some people don't experience that. And I don't understand that. I think it's just the way they're wired. They don't ever capture that magical moment in music. But when he plays, man, there's just this connection. It's you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Do you ever get goosebumps just thinking about something like that, what you're saying? Like you're sitting there talking about how good something is.
Yeah.
You know, I've like really conceptualized a lot about like what music is. And I've said before that, you know, even in the Christian beliefs, God asks Christians to sing or play music or whatever, you know, however people interpret that. And so even in that context, like believe it or not, it's important and it's in human history, and every culture that I know of has some form of it.
Yeah. And
it's, you know, it's a method of remembering truths or remembering war heroes or whatever, or national pride, or, you know, it's everything is behind music. And it's almost like like when you get goosebumps like that, I don't know what that is scientifically, but to me, it's just like my mind getting excited about the thought of that song and how that song makes me feel.
Yeah.
You know, and like usually if I wear you out about a band, which I know I do all the time, like I've like Steve Earle. I want everybody in the world to love Steve Earle. I really do. Like for all his faults or whatever that is. Like I think his music is brilliant. You know, and I think it's man, it's like a Southern Dylan in a way, and it has that like Neil Young edge to it. And then he was around so many of those songwriters. Like I was telling my wife the other day, I was like, I don't really know who to say he's like, but I think Jackie Green is kind of one of those dudes where it's like, I personally don't really like Jackie Green. I get in trouble for saying that all the time, but I don't. But he's around Bob Weir, and he was in the Crows, and so he was around all these guys, you know, that were before him. And then, so, you know, Steve Earle was around Townes Van Zandt. Steve Earle was around Guy Clark and Chris Christopherson and those guys. And it's like, but he's the younger guy.
Yeah.
You know, so I think people get jealous of that kind of stuff. I don't know if industry or whatever, but bro, that dude's been to prison. I'm pretty sure he hitchhiked to Houston one time trying to meet like Townes Van Zandt, if I remember myself right. Like, so he's writing from experience, dude, and I can always get with that, and I feel like I can see that, you know. But I don't know. Sometimes I'll think about that, and then like going back to us talking about cops, like there's a very Tennessee thing, man. Like when you like, I guess growing up, like when you're learning about Andrew Jackson and like the Smoky Mountains, and like we have some cool stuff, bro. We're like, I think the rest of the country may see us as like the banjo, you know what I mean, or something. I don't know. I don't care.
Who cares?
No, I don't care. I'm just saying that it's like there's definite like Tennessee things, man.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think Steve Earle hits on that, and like some very Texas things, you know.
Yeah, I remember when I was a teenager and Copperhead Road came out. Oh man, I just thought that was I don't know what it was about it. It struck a nerve with me. I know that. I just thought that song was it.
Bro, you want the incense over there with you for a minute?
No, you're cool.
All right,
I
cool.
can smell it over here.
That's Chami, bro.
Chami.
I did a really bad job of explaining this, so I'm going to tell it straight up. So we had a family member that was giving some furniture, and they were like, "Yeah, it's Amish." And so they're like, "Yeah, it's Amish, man." So we're loading it up, and I swear, I'm not making this story up at all because I don't lie, bro. It said "Made in China" on the back, and so I made up the term Chamish. I said, "Man, that's Chamish," and me and my nephew thought it was hilarious. And so then I had this little Chinese statue that was gold. That was my wife's my wife's grandmother's. But then the kids busted it. But it was cool, man, because she had like her hands up like this, like she had like little, I don't know, like little swords or something. And it was cool. But then it got broken. So then I crowned this one Chami too. But I used to have a little sign that hung around its neck on the first one that said "Everybody Chom Down." And I was like during the election, man, when everybody was just fired up. And I just thought I don't know, stupid, but I like it, man.
Yeah. It's a good holder. I
had to
burn
put
incense
holes in
too at home.
What do you use?
My favorite one is Himalaya. It's just.
Where do you get it?
You can order it. I've ordered it off of Amazon. You can get like a case of 12. You know them little square boxes they come in?
Yeah.
It's not much, $20 or something like that. But
that's cool.
It kind of smells like a fireplace smell a little bit with some, I don't know. It's very therapeutic.
What do you? Is there supposed to be benefits to? Is it just like relaxation? Or?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never thought about it. I really just I enjoy the aroma of it.
Well, you know, the Bible talks about incense, so you know it goes way back. I think it is. I think it's therapeutic, but there are probably other deeper uses for it. But I don't know what they are. I just know it smells good. And it
makes a concert real good, man. When they get it right there, man. The apple. The Crows used to do that.
Yeah.
Bro, I've seen them burn incense right there in the Ryman Auditorium. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. It's not just on stage. It's out in the audience. They
bro.
at the shed the other night. Everybody had, there'd be a group of people and there'd be a stick of incense burning right there.
Hey, bro. So I was seeing Sturgill Simpson at the shed.
Yeah.
And God, bro, that was that was a crazy show. Like he was kind of really busting loose, and we were
You
like,
told me he kicked over the steel guitar or something, right?
he did that on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, he's raw, man. But we were seeing him at the shed, and I had taken some incense in, and we were dead in the front, and I think I had an apple or something to put it in.
Yeah.
So it would just stand there, and I would like, reach under and put it under the rail and would burn it. And like I had like 10 people like, dude, that's epic. It smells so good, blah, blah, blah. And like, I mean, I felt like it was just smoked up,
Yeah.
and the shed is a great venue. You know how electric that place is.
Oh yeah, it's like the Ryman of East Tennessee. I mean,
Yeah.
artists love playing that place.
It's cool.
It is. Just comes alive.
But I had a girl next to me. She's like, can you put that out? I'm like, no.
How could you not?
No, I'm not. I'm not. It's just, this is too perfect. I'm sorry.
Did you put it out?
No.
You paid for your ticket and bought that in.
And everybody else was loving it. I mean, it's a democracy. We voted. We
There
voted.
you
Maybe
go.
some people voted twice. I voted like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess the 70s, and it may be other, but in my mind it was the 70s. Incense got a bad rap. Only potheads used incense,
Oh, man.
to cover up the smell of the weed. But I just like the smell of it.
I agree. I love it.
Yeah.
Do my little gnome in the front yard.
Yeah.
It has a little frog that's sitting in the gnome's lap, and it'll hold the stick of incense. And I'll go put it out there sometimes. I don't know why. I just think it's stupid.
That's killer.
Yeah.
You'll do anything. You don't care, do you?
Mm-mm. Like do a podcast barefooted, bro. Just because people talk about people talk about my feet, man. Like I've had like 3 or 4 people say something about it.
Well, you got critics.
Critics, man. The haters, bro.
New York Times. What is
No,
it?
there's no haters.
New York Times watched today, Craig. You gonna have to watch him feet, dude.
Does that exist? Is New York Times still a thing?
I don't know, and I don't even know if they review things. I don't know. I'm just trying to be funny.
Hey, man, what song is it? I don't even know why I'm asking this because we might not even come up with an answer, but what's this song that says the New York Times says God is dead? It's an Elton John song. The New York Times says God is dead. Levon? Is that what it is? Did I just pull that out?
I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I think that's it. You like him?
Levon, Elton John.
Both of them, bro.
Yeah, I like Levon.
They're homies.
I like Levon real. I like Levon real.
No, I'm not saying they're homies like they hung out. I don't know. I don't judge them like that. But
Oh yeah, me either.
I think Elton's killer, man.
Oh yeah, very talented.
Have you ever seen him?
No, but I saw that movie and I felt like
I haven't seen that.
I felt like it was just as good, better than seeing him in concert.
I had a chance to see him, man, but he was coming with Billy Joel, dude. And I'll trash on Billy Joel all day.
Yeah.
I heard a song, man. My wife took my phone, and it's crazy, man, because I was without my. This sounds terrible. It won't sound terrible to anybody, but to me, it was terrible. So I was driving from here to the gym, which is like 10 minutes, and I didn't have my phone. And my kid has crammed a CD in my CD player, so my CD player doesn't work. So it's like the first time in like 7 years I had to turn on the radio, hear a bunch of ads, and then a Billy Joel song. And I was just like, come on, man.
Made you want to drive your car off the road. and
No,
hit a
it really
tree.
didn't, but it made me take my seatbelt off, man. I was just going to go headlong into that telephone pole.
Can't take it. Billy pushed me over the edge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
him and his glass houses, bro.
look, your Def Leppard, your Guns N' Roses, your Bon Jovi. We can push ourselves through that, but you throw some Billy Joel in there and that's it.
Yeah, man. Like what? Who listens to that?
Man, I still listen to FM radio. I'm a product of the 80s, man. I love FM radio. Was golly, I remember when there was no internet, dude.
I remember when there was no internet.
Do you?
Yeah, me and my brother broke into our elementary school all the time so we could go in and use the computer because we didn't have one in our house.
What a thug.
We did, bro. We'd break in with coat hangers and everything. I'm not kidding. I'm telling you the truth.
You said a minute ago, I don't lie.
I don't lie. I've learned, bro.
Wait, so what'd you do? Break in to use their Wi-Fi?
So we'd leave. They didn't have Wi-Fi. That wasn't a thing. There was like, I mean, almost like desktop computers with floppy disks.
Oh, okay.
Like OG, bro.
Yeah.
Like
What-
Stranger Things stuff.
So did y'all like break in and play solitaire
Yeah, yeah, of course.
or rock on, man?
Yeah, man. Like look up who the lead singer of the Doors was
There
or
you go.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember, man, like you'd go on and we'd like,
Hey, man, that's a good point. I've been dwelling on this thought lately. And I think I might have shared it with you. You were talking about looking up who the lead singer was. And I remember, and I still use the internet. Man, I used to not be able to do much of anything. I had no mechanical talents at all. But during the great information age, man, I started looking things up and learned how to do a lot of things. It became really handy. But now it seems like we've gone from the information age to the misinformation age, and
oh yeah, man.
it's hard to tell what the truth is now. Maybe before it wasn't the truth either, but at least we all believed the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to wade through. Like the vaccines. I had to talk my kids through it. I mean, my oldest son's 19, fixing to be 20, and youngest is 17. Man, I wasn't going to make them take the vaccine. I mean, one is an adult and one nearly is an adult. I didn't want to do something and then the vaccine caused cancer or something, and then here I've made him get it. You go get that cancer, boy. You go get it good. Make daddy proud. But anyway, I had to help him with it because he had heard that it made you infertile. And so I was like, okay, where I heard that at? Well, of course, online. And so I had to research to try to find the truth about it because I didn't know. So it's getting harder online to find concrete truth.
Yeah, I had my buddy Matt Hayes, Dr. Matt Hayes. I think it was like episode 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked through a lot of stuff, but I think it was later in that podcast. He's a pharmacist, and so he's administered 200 or 300 vaccines. And I was asking him that question. Just at the time, I was reading Matt Taibbi, his Hate Inc. book, which goes more into like the political climate of like media, the mainstream media, and social. I think social media too, all of that. So that's kind of where we were at. That's where I was at that time, what I was studying. So we talked about it a lot from that perspective, and I was just asking him where do you go? Like, what is a trusted source? You know what I mean? It's like, I think that's why this type stuff is so popular. I think it's why people flock to someone like Joe Rogan, because, like my perspective has changed on quite a bit from now till, from 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff that people say orally is, it can be very indicative of like what they're reading, what they're consuming. It's kind of where your thoughts are at that time.
Right.
But I mean, so I think that's what's cool about someone like Joe Rogan is, he's bringing all these different experts on that are talking about, in wildly different things.
Yeah.
And for most people, we're pretty narrow. Our view is pretty narrow. Like we see, what's around us, what's important to our family or whatever our little culture is.
Right.
So I think that's what's cool about him too, because it brings people on that might be outside of your perspective. So you may be hearing something about some guy almost dying in a cave dive one day, and then some girl who's a rock climber, or or Bernie Sanders or whatever.
Right.
And I think too, and this is what's cool about him, is I know he likes Bernie Sanders, but I listened to that one in particular because I was opposed to some of Bernie Sanders' ideas, but it makes it a way better dynamic than whatever other public debates we have going on. I mean,
Right.
it's wild because you step back from all of that and you realize just what a charade it all is.
Oh yeah.
It's just so insane.
It is. It's sickening.
And there's no discourse. There's no dialogue. There's no, well, have you thought about it from this side? Because
Right.
I've had my mind changed so many times.
Bro, we are living in a society right now that is divided down the middle as a us and them society. It doesn't matter what the topic is. And I think it's ingrained in us and has been for a long time. It started when we were in high school. We had our rival across the county line, Jefferson County, and we we hated them. You know, it's just like them suckers. And the reason we hated them is because they always beat us. But yeah, it's for me. It started way back then. That us and them probably started even before that. Probably did because on the playground it was boys against girls. You know,
Dude, that idea, us and them. There's a lot of wild stuff in history that has been based on that idea. Like when you walked in today, I was watching that Vietnam video, and it was showing this guy, and he was like some Native American guy from New Mexico that went to Vietnam, and he was like, "Here I am, you know, they were calling me, you know, blanket bud and chief and just all these different, you know, names. Like, you know, he goes, my drill sergeant would say all that stuff to me, but then here I was just hopped up to go kill gooks.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I felt like I was brainwashed.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's wild. And then Hitler, you know, and Stalin, and then Muslim, Christian. I mean, it's there. And now, you know, used to there had to be a common enemy. There had to be, you know, Muslim extremists or China or whatever.
Soviet Union.
But now it's, you know, one way of thinking versus another. Really what it is, man, is it's secular fundamentalism versus Christian fundamentalism is what it is.
Yeah.
It's two people that are trying to control people's lives.
Yep.
And either make them thump this Bible insanely hard or burn the Bible in the middle and then get over here and thump to whatever the new woke whatever it is of the day. It's insane.
It is.
And both of them, I think, at a certain point are just beyond reason. There's no good in it. It's like Pharisees. It's rules for the sake of rules for what, man? I don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm gonna stop right there.
Yeah, well, you know, I agree with you. I mean, I do. It's that us and them. It's either you know, you see things my way or you're the enemy. You know,
there's some of that in Christianity too, with the saved versus not saved.
Not even that. It goes way.
Or this denomination is, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't jack with them because they, whatever. It's insane, man.
Yeah. Across denominations and even in churches, you know, this group believes that. Well, we know that group over there, they believe that. Or, you know,
What do you think that is? Why do you think humans do that? Why do you think we have that
us and them mentality?
Yeah.
It happened to Jesus too. The disciples came up to Jesus and they said, "Hey man, there's these people over here. They're prophesying, casting out demons in your name. You know, who do they think they are?" And Jesus said, "Hey, if they're not against us, they're for us." You know, wow, what an example of acceptance. By the way, my oldest son has not had his COVID vaccine. You know, he's got his reasons. I think they're whack, but I respect him. He's a human being, and we're all vaccinated up at the house, so if we get it, we'll get a little sick. And I'll get to tell him I told you so, unless the unthinkable happens, and we'll have to just...
He's like in there in an iron lung.
Told you, boy. Told you. No. Yeah, there's some crazy thoughts about things in society today. I mean, just... It used to be marginal. Now it's becoming less marginal and becoming more normal, and it's kind of spooky.
Have you watched the Social Dilemma documentary?
Yeah, parts of it.
Yeah, and I've said before, I think he's a little over the top, scary. You know,
Yeah.
It's kind of like the climate. What's the one with
Al Gore?
Yeah,
I don't remember. I didn't watch that.
An Inconvenient Truth.
Yeah,
it's a little like that too, man. But they're scare tactics. Make you think it's a bigger deal than it is. But I think it's serious. I think it's just something that you need to be aware of what they're trying to do. And once you're aware of it, rock on, man, and do what you want to do, and you recognize it, and
Yeah, so much of what I see today is it's scare tactics. Trying to get everybody scared and on edge. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. Oh yeah, this. And they, I don't know. I don't like to be told what not to do, but I'm glad there's laws, and I think that a lot of people are, there's a lot of people probably going to not like what I'm about to say, but it's okay. I've been ridiculed before. I can take it. I don't wear a seatbelt We didn't wear seatbelts as kids. We used to sleep in the back window going from Newport, Tennessee to Memphis. You know, the 8-hour drive in a old Ford that didn't have an air conditioner in it and an AM radio. Bro, we said, if we go, we go. There ain't much to live for anyway. All we got this AM radio and no air conditioned Ford. But anyway, yeah, but I just grew up in a society that don't wear seatbelts, and I should wear my seatbelt if I'm riding with my kids and it's raining. I put my seatbelt on because they're less experienced, and I know it could happen to me too. So, but I don't like the fact that it's a law for me to have to wear a seatbelt. I don't like that. I think you should wear a helmet in Tennessee. So anyway, I think you can law people to death, and I think
For sure.
I think that's kind of where this is. What's fueling this is that there are parts of society that are saying, "We're tired of telling y'all what's legal, y'all telling us what's legal, what's illegal, what's right, what's wrong, because y'all are just trying to micromanage my daily living." And I'm not saying the government's wrong. I'm just saying I'm starting to see why this is getting hotter.
I will say this though, man. I totally get where you're going, and I will disagree with you a little bit, but
Please do.
Cordially. I
Please
think there's a certain level of nihilism that people have.
Nihilism?
So nihilism is where you basically don't believe in anything. You don't believe in religion. I mean, loosely, this is what it means.
Okay.
And so there are a lot of people, I think, that masked in whatever LGBTQ, Black Lives Matter, some of these groups. I think there are portions of these groups or a portion of their beliefs. I'm not saying the whole groups. I think a portion of that is anti-biblical. I think other people identify it. I think churches see it, and I think some of it really is a push against, like the Christian denominationalism.
Yeah.
And some of it, to be honest, I think is right. But then some of it is misplaced.
Right.
So the parts that I think would be right, the parts that I think that, denominationalism now, which when I'm saying denominationalism, I'm basically Catholicism is kind of its own little piece in the United States. But I think for the most part, everybody else is basically just a different flavor of ice cream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you might have a little pralines and cream over here, but then you got Oreo over here because they don't have the piano, and they have a piano and cymbals, and they have a praise team and use the KJV, and it's very tribal, bro. And
it is. You got this church over here that no divorced people can teach Sunday school, and then you've got this church,
the one with no kitchen, and we could go on and on.
Yeah.
They don't have a playground. This one has a daycare and an old folks home.
Yeah.
Whatever. So the more that I have and I've met a lot of people like you, growing up Little C Church of Christ, we do learn a lot about other groups, and you're taught that the churches of Christ are right and that all these other groups are wrong.
Yeah.
And all of that. And I don't, now after studying, and you're seeking truth, or what's making my life better, or what's helping my family have less chaos. Not that we have chaos, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like you can start to get a lot of stuff out of your life, alcohol or, whatever.
Right.
And there's different things that you can just get out of your life, and your life is better. For some people, it's drugs or scratch off tickets or, steroids and tanning
For
beds.
others, it saved their marriage.
Yeah. So everybody's got their own little thing, but I just don't know, man. Like, my biggest beef at the moment is I don't think that churches are actually most of their rhetoric is around eternity, right? And there's plenty of things in Christianity, in the ideas of Christianity, that can make people's lives better now. There are people that still live in this world that don't have clean water. They don't have access to food. They're still living. Like when we're reading in history about, the Russians or World War One and all these guys living in trenches and about half starving to death and Jews starving to death in these camps and all that. Like, to us, that's so foreign because we don't have memories like that.
Right.
We don't see that here. But there are places that still see that. There's Honduras. There's, Vietnam. All these places that are still poor.
Right.
North Korea.
Hey, you've said Vietnam a couple of times, and I have to give a salute to my late Uncle Freck Gullett. He served in the Vietnam War.
Freck?
Yeah, Freck Gullett. Yeah, his real name's Richard. He's my dad's brother, younger brother. But for a long time, it messed him up, man, mentally. He wouldn't talk about it. But before he died, he got to where he'd talk about it. Man, the stories he would tell. He was one of those guys that you see in movies that was on the side of the helicopter with a .50 caliber. That was him over in Vietnam.
Dude, it's crazy you're saying. I'm not trying to put this on Uncle Freck, but there was a guy on that documentary that I was watching, and he said the part for him is like they give him an M16, they go over there, they say, hey man, there's some guys, there's gonna be some guys come over this hill, whatever, shoot them. So the guys come over the hill, he shoots them, and he said, I didn't really care that they were, like, it didn't bother me, he's like, it's just they were the enemy, and it just felt good. He goes, it didn't have anything to do, and he goes, it, like, looking back now, he goes, it just scares me how I could feel that way.
Yeah.
And like, I've studied some on the PTSD stuff, and one of the things they say is a lot of times it's not like the thing that they end up worrying about that causes the PTSD is something that they've done, not necessarily something that's been done to them,
right,
but something that they've done that then they can't forgive themselves for.
Yeah. I've told my both of my sons, defend yourself, but if you kill another man, it's going to affect you the rest of your life. And you don't always kill people on purpose. Sometimes you can get out and live negligent and kill another man, and you'll never forgive yourself the rest of your life. And
so I bring that up on purpose, man, because I think a lot of your fundamentalist groups, I think they cause a lot of guilt. I think they cause a lot of, like, you feel like you have to be there every service.
Bro, why a lot of that is? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead. Absolutely interrupt me.
This is
I like you talking, not me. Go.
This is kind of what has gotten part of that bitter taste in my mouth against organized religion or against the organized church, is it is a corporation. I'm not just saying that in simple terms. Most churches are incorporated for the primary reason to keep the leadership of the church from being sued if something happens to the church. The corporation will get sued.
In case any of the deacons go diddling.
That's right. But it is a business. And, man, that part of it is part of what made me just say, you know what, I need a break from all this for a while. And it's just, you need money to operate. The last church that I lived in, it was really wild. The dynamics were really wild because the rich northerners would come down south for the winter, and giving at the church would just be phenomenal. I mean, just millions. And when they would go back home, the local community there, I forget what the median income was, but it was something like $15,000-$20,000 a year. And so the church really suffered through those difficult times. And so there had to be tactics. And so everything within, those summer months when the Northerners went back home, it was all about how we're going to make money. And
did y'all do car washes?
No. But we did do a lot of fundraisers. And, that... I don't know, man. I've simplified my faith and my religion a lot. I feel like that somewhere after Constantine allowed the persecuted Christians to come out of hiding, the church always kind of was headed toward a man-driven. Man, please hear me. I'm not dissing the church. I love the church. The church was good to me and my family, very good to my family. For 25 years, I served a couple of churches, and they were just very kind to us. So I don't want to put any bad vibes out there about that.
But now lay it on us.
Well, but now, I mean, here's what changed my life. And some would say it was for the worse. But I stopped letting other people tell me what the truth was. And I went on this quest to discover what the truth really was. And as I began to discover those truths, I began to see that, man, all this exclusiveness is wrong. A lot of what we have built are these money-making machines, and it's, I don't know, man. I just have to be real careful on that, because it's a fine line for me to walk, because I have a lot of respect for the church, but at the same time, I'm so turned off by it.
You know, I know what you mean, man, because like my friends and I have real friends from church, like people that like, if I was making a list of my top 10 friends, people that I feel like I could depend on, people that I feel like genuinely care about me, they're related to the church that we still attend. Yet I don't think like they do, and I know that I don't. And I've always felt like there's, you know, even going, because I went to a Church of Christ college. You know, I went to a Church of Christ my entire life. Never did anything else different.
Right.
My grandparents are Church of Christ. My grandmother's father was an elder at a Church of Christ, helped establish a church, I think. And so, I mean, it runs deep. But when I look at it now, Jordan Peterson would say that that people are avatars of something that used to be. And he doesn't use that the way I'm using it, where I'm saying that I think the churches of Christ specifically now, I would imagine like your Baptists and your Presbyterians are a lot the same, that there was a time when those churches really thrived in the 60s. Yeah. The churches of Christ in this area, in Nashville, Madison Church of Christ, my dad was telling me about this the other day, you know, like with Ira North, and they had like a singing show there, and that it was bumping off, dude. Like Madison Church of Christ was absolutely just blowing up. But within the churches of Christ, they would say that, you know, Madison was liberal or whatever. And, you know, but we do that as humans too, man. We like to tag stuff.
Yeah, we do.
But I feel like the churches of Christ now, you know, like in a lot of ways, they are avatars to, you know, something that was thriving at a completely different time. Like, I think that my problem too, man, is that there's always this talk of the world and the way the world is and the way the world behaves versus us.
Right.
You know, and there's this divide, and it's like, oh, well, if the world is advancing in some way, then that's bad. And so my question is, at what point in fundamentalism do you push back so far against the world that you end up where you're Amish? You know, you're so far out of touch. Or is that really what is being taught there? Is that, hey, man, if the world goes on and they keep doing crazy whatever, do we do that, or do we just keep pulling back to where we're basically Amish?
Right. I heard a saying one time that said, don't become so heavenly minded that you're of no earthly worth.
And that is one of my main issues with the church right now, man, and Churches of Christ specifically, and other groups, I'm sure. But everything is, so the first Sunday back, we hadn't been through COVID at all, which honestly was great. It was a nice break. I kept saying over and over and over, and I was like, it's the first time in my life that I felt like that if I'm not going to church, that I'm not going to hell.
Yeah.
You know, and I say that jokingly, man, but I mean, there's like guilt that goes along with that, where like if you're skipping quite a bit and whatever, but I don't even think about it like that anymore, man. I don't feel like that whatever my religious beliefs are, whatever my morality code is, it doesn't really have anything to do with that building. It's like what you were saying. It's like, I don't let people tell me what I should think. I don't let people tell me, you know, how realistic I have to feel like the stories are. I am at the point where I believe that it is the code that basically wrote Western society. There's a reason why capitalism based on trust and, fair exchange, it works well in a Christian society because the Christian value system is pretty solid. I mean, you have to admit that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So then you take I think a lot of our college kids and a lot of this wokeness.
My bad, bro.
You busting my stuff up, man.
Dang, I had an itch on my neck, and it is so bad I had to knock my headset off. My bad.
Breaking things.
So unprofessional. You need to get some professional guests on your show.
You need a back scratcher in here, don't I?
I've got one by my bed, bro.
But you don't have one by your podcast
sure
chair.
Don't. You already do. I use this cactus right here. Oh, yeah.
So I think some people, man, they don't believe in anything. I really don't. And I don't think that religion, I don't think that Christianity has the I don't think they have the monopoly on morality. I think there's morality in Buddhism. I think there's morality in Shakespeare. I think, you know what I mean? There's other places that where humans can work out, an interaction with another human being. That's what we call theater and movies and art.
Right.
We have imaginations. We can think through these things. So, there's just been several things for me where I can't look past it anymore. I can't just sit back and say that, okay, I'm just going to blindly believe these things. Where I'm at on all of it is, okay, what is truth? And I think the truth is what I was saying about Western society and the Bible is that no matter how much I want to say that it is wrong or it doesn't exist or God doesn't exist, it's just made up stories, whatever, as much as I want to say that, I still think it has impacted my life in a positive way.
Yeah.
Those friends that I mentioned just a second ago, I mean, like the quality of dudes and the quality of like their wives, it, just in normal interaction it's unreal, man. And like some of those people we went to college with, and they're just super nice people. Like I make the joke all the time. There's hobbits. Like just people who are peaceful. They're not, they're not being rowdy.
Right.
They're raising their kids, just nice little happy mammals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like just folks, just good people.
Yeah. Very loving and accepting.
And you see that. And, a lot of people like to give the church a bad rap and say that they're judgmental, and they are all those things. I do think that. I really do. But I think the people individually, most of the ones that I've had conversations with like this, not necessarily in podcasts, but I mean just person to person.
Living room chat.
I feel like their attitude is closer to what I'm saying, where it's like, yeah, man, I don't know that we got to do all that. They talking about getting a foot washing machine in here. They're gonna cut everybody's braids out. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, it's wild.
It is, and in my journey with God, I'm discovering why I feel like the church is so important. Going back to me searching and trying to discover the truth for myself. Man, I've been told everything growing up in the church. I've heard it all. I mean, I've heard that if a black man marries a white woman, they're going to hell because you ain't supposed to be unequally yoked. And that's not even what the scripture's talking about.
But don't you think humans have the ability, like, we do that a lot right there, man. We'll just, hey, man, I'm going to take this verse, and I don't think white women should be marrying black dudes, so I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that this verse says that because I rationalized it in my head, and I think I can twist this.
Yeah, there was another one that if a man's been divorced, he can't be a pastor because the Bible says that he has to be the husband of one wife. Well, he is. He divorced the other one because she was cheating on him. He don't have to.
Cheating woman.
He don't. Anyway, and so it's that writing off that I don't appreciate, man. And
I just don't understand why we can't admit that we maybe don't have it all figured out, because I don't think we do.
We don't, man.
And I can prove it. Do you know why science was invented?
To prove God.
It kinda. So biblical truths, the Bible, the Old Testament, the New Testament, it tells us what we need to do for eternity. But it doesn't, I mean, I think it does, but we don't take it that way. Religion itself is the way I should have phrased that. And maybe not necessarily the Bible, because I think it's in there.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the way religion was displayed in earlier centuries, and especially not in the 20th century, where it's like, I'm losing my thought. I'm losing my religion. Man, I lost my thought. I hate that. What was I saying?
I don't know. I've got Conway Twitty's song, I'm Laying Here with Linda, on my mind. I guess I was thinking about the...
You weren't even listening to me, man.
I really wasn't. I could hear that bird chirping through your mic. I was really listening to that.
She was trying to get on our... podcast.
Yeah, for real. But I have, like I said, I've discovered why I feel like the church is important, because for about 4 years we've been to several churches, just trying to find that place. And what's terrible is the churches we have been involved in were so magical. I mean, it's like family. Either one of the churches that I was a part of. I mean,
it's, and it might be, to relate it to Dave Ramsey, this is where I'm at. Maybe going to church Sunday, Sunday night, Wednesday, maybe doing that is like the envelope system for some people, and like, that's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, if, but then there's some people that either they don't want anything to do with it, or, and I don't know, man. I think some people probably really do need to be involved.
I agree.
And I think one of the most important things that people can have, even Jordan Peterson, I'm reading a ton of Jordan Peterson. I'm going to say his name 1,000 times, but he talks about the pillars that you have in your life, and one of the main pillars is having people who care about you. Well, there's some people that don't have a family, or their family sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Where I start having a problem is where there's guilt laid on you if you don't show up for all 3 services, or it may not happen where you go to church, but there were those who, they were always there and they were faithful, and but there was guilt, if you didn't come to all the time. And here's what I'm sitting here thinking is, there may be people listening to this podcast go, man, I don't know where this dude's been going to church, because I don't experience any of that stuff. And that's cool with me too. I mean, everyone has their own experience. But in the time that we have taken away from the church, my faith has not wavered, not an ounce. As a matter of fact, it's probably deepened, because I just have started to discover stuff for myself based on the scripture, studying the Greek and the Hebrew to determine, what does this really say? Because I was taught this, but that can't be right. And I'll tell you what caused me to do that. Was my dad, he's an alcoholic, and he knows he is. And I'm not airing anything that he'll know. He don't have the internet.
Tennessee, man.
Yeah.
That could be fighting words in about 99 counties.
That's
Tennessee.
right.
No.
But, he's a great guy. I mean, he made some foolish mistakes in his life. I mean, he did some stupid things. And it caused our family to bust up. I was in my 40s when my mom and dad got a divorce. So he's not a perfect man. But he got saved in terms. Do y'all use that term in the church class? He got saved, and man, he really made a change in his life and studied the Bible. I mean, studied it. He's got an 8th grade education, and he got a Living Bible. That's a translation, Eugene Peterson. And man, he read it from cover to cover like 4 times. He just got so inundated with it. And he still believes in God, but he just battles alcoholism. So the passage of Scripture, can't remember if it's in 1 Corinthians or 2 Corinthians, but I think it's 2 Corinthians chapter 6 that it says, no drunkard shall inherit the kingdom of heaven. And I was like, dude, that can't be right. I know my dad believes that God created him and Jesus died for his sin. He's a sick man. He has an addiction. And it can't be right. And so I started studying that passage in the Greek and Hebrew. So it'd be the Greek New Testament. And that passage it's not what it's talking about. It's talking about, it says at the very beginning, and by the way, if you go through the list, it's a drunkard, but it's also a liar. It's also homosexuals in that group too. They get lumped in. But
yeah, New Testament goes hard on homosexuals.
It does, man. Yeah, it's Paul. I think he. Anyway,
might have been a thorn in the flesh, bro.
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, who knows? But that passage of scripture, I mean, it did a lot for me, because the key to that passage is that word righteousness, and it says that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God, such as homosexuals, liars, drunkards, and I apologize. Really, the verse should mean more to me than I could quote it and tell you the passage and verse, but it's all about unrighteousness, and we're righteous in Christ. That means we're forgiven. We're made right with God. And so that passage is talking about unrighteousness. And then it says, as some of you once were. And some people would say, well, hey, I was this, but I am no longer. But if that's the case, I know a lot of alcoholics that have gotten saved that turn back to alcohol. Does that mean...
man, I think this is where I was headed. You reminded me of it. The first sermon back, when we hadn't gone to church from COVID.
Yeah.
It was on alcohol. The first one I came back to was alcohol, and I was like, here we go. That whole Sunday, I was sending it to a friend of mine that was there. I was sending him like Waylon Jennings songs. I was like, hey, man, I got to recover from the alcohol sermon. And I was listening to like old school country drinking songs all Sunday afternoon. But I think you can back it up there. Like, I don't even think you have to go. This is for me personally. I don't think you have to go into all the dissecting of the stuff like that. Like, I don't, when you were talking about like faith and you said your faith hasn't wavered, mine has, like, big time, huge. Like, man, this is ridiculous. There's no way this is possibly even true. And so I don't even view its importance that way anymore. And I don't mean this to sound real, in the clouds, but this is what I personally think. I don't think necessarily that it really matters, that the discussion really matters about whether God exists or not. Like, you could say that you could prove it, but can you really scientifically prove it? I don't know. They we were mentioning science earlier, and science, to answer my question, if people from 30 minutes ago, science came as this, hey, religion is telling us what we need to do spiritually and how that helps us long term. But what helps us now? And religion has not done a very good job of helping people, now. Right. And there are a lot of things that could be added to people's lives to get them closer to what I'm saying I see in my friends with their nice little, warm little families, who are not living in chaos, who do not have alcoholism, and maybe there was abuse in their past and they're shielding their kids from. I'm not saying them specifically, but just as parents, you try to even better your situation for your kids than whatever you had, right?
Right.
And so, I think people really need to see that Western society was built on biblical values, and right or wrong, if God exists or he doesn't, if Jesus died on the cross or he didn't, these stories are still telling truths that, show me where they're being told in a better way. Like, yeah, sure, we got Pinocchio or whatever that tells us not to lie or whatever, but I mean, it's still a biblical truth.
Right.
And so, a lot of people like to try to chop the legs out from under the Bible and say that, well, the idea of Jesus came from Horus, like part of Egyptian religion. And it's, or this story is very similar to this other story in Hinduism or Buddhism, or, you know what I mean? Or like the Great Flood. So they'll try to chop the legs out from under the Bible itself. But what I personally think is, if you do want to be what we're talking about, like be a part of this, denomination and just really do everything they're saying, for some people, it's a really good start because they're struggling in more ways than you can even imagine.
Right.
Maybe, maybe everything looks good on the outside, but they may have a health problem and they're not very educated because of whatever their circumstances were before. And, the church is, if they're this aid station from God, which is what they're supposed to be,
right,
then they would be helping people to make their lives better now. And you would say, well, it's just so important that we pay attention and that we're focused on heaven. Okay, that's cool. But help people.
Right.
So the more people that you help, you're growing an army of people. So I think the problem that we see in churches now is, who are they helping, dude? And if you're using scripture, you could say, where the Bible talks about producing fruits.
Right.
Like Christians will produce fruit. Show me the fruit, bro. And there, like you said earlier, there are people that are listening to this that go, dude, my church is great.
Yeah.
And there's tons of stuff going on like that.
And I think that's awesome.
There are some that's not the case, bro.
Right.
Like, it feels dead. I've seen in the church we go to now is cool, man. It's cool. I think there's still, I definitely still think there's some flaws there, because it's, there's these like deep fundamentalist ideas,
right.
and like, I don't want to knock on it too much, man, because, they are my friends.
Yeah, I was going to say,
but
you have people in your life that are connected to that. You don't want to trash. You don't want to trash them.
Well, I guess maybe I already did trash it, but yeah, there's definitely importance to it, to people. But I think, like, where I have gotten, going all the way back to what we were saying earlier, like during COVID, where I got to is that regardless of what I think, like, if God exists, he can, he'll reveal himself to me, or I'll get there, right. Or he doesn't. But that story of grace and love,
yep.
and treating other human beings with decency,
yep.
and like, you not treating your neighbor like crap, and just loving the people that are around you. It's like bringing all this together with the media and everything else. Like, Jordan Peterson talks about how you should focus on things that you can, like, things that you can change or influence. And then just because you can still doesn't mean that you want to. Do you want to influence this thing or change this thing? And then if you do, that's the thing you should focus on. Like, don't focus on all this other stuff that you can't change.
Right.
Or something you're not willing to change. So it's like this. It's like, yeah, I want to completely change politics in the United States. Do I think I could do it? Well, I don't know. Maybe I could start heading that direction. Well, let's say hypothetically that you could get there. Would you even want to do it? Heck no. So I'm not even going to worry about it.
Yeah.
And like, there's so many little things. Like, he would say that there's so many little things that you can affect in your life on a daily basis that means something to you, that would make your life better tomorrow, that there's enough of those little things that you could just do. Like, you can look around my house where people can't. This looks great over here. But like,
this
I need to
place
clean.
is a wreck. I'm telling you. I don't see how y'all live here.
But like that desk, I need to clean that off. Like, I could do that as opposed to worrying about the news and worrying about some bombing or whatever that I can't change.
Right.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't be involved or you shouldn't be informed, but at what point are you just wasting your time just watching some political soap opera, man?
Right. And I think what I would really like to do is identify who I would want to receive what I'm saying about the church. It's not the people that you mentioned that are doing great. They've got a great church. Man, I'm happy for them. I've been a part of those.
Yeah, and see, that's not the point for me at all. When you say, who do I want to hear saying what I'm saying, I know I'm recording this and putting it online. This is all for me. I don't think the answer is the same for me as anybody else. And I actually kind of like the fact that my wife, still believes it wholeheartedly and is in there, and like, yeah, I don't think that piece matters, because I still think it's important. I still think it's a good launching point.
Yeah.
I just don't think you push it so hard that your kids end up getting tramp stamps. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm serious. Like, I think you can go so fundamentally overboard that you push your and I think a lot of that, man's out of laziness. I really do, and I can explain that too. So, if you make your kids so fundamental, and they got to go every Sunday night, they can't touch alcohol, they can't do this, everything's taboo, they can't listen to rap, they can't listen to country because it talks about alcohol. Like, if you go that hardcore, you're just being lazy, because then you're not having to decide and decipher what you're exposing your kid to, because ultimately what you're trying to do is take your kid and if something they're doing is annoying you, this is Jordan Peterson all the way through what I'm about to say. Like if your kid's doing something that's annoying you, and then you go into public, well, those people don't care about your kid as much as you do. So they're going to be less tolerant of your kid. And you're trying to raise your kid to where they can just be neutral in society and not just be totally ostracized.
Right.
But I think in a lot of ways, the churches teach you something opposite. They're telling you to be separate from the world. And what they're really trying to say is have your morality at a higher standard than the world.
Yeah.
This being separate from the world, that's impossible. And by most standards, I would say that our society is very Christian, even towards like the darkest sides of it. There's still morality. For the most part, we don't kill each other and we don't club each other in the head and take everybody's stuff.
Where did Jesus spend most of his time?
Sinners.
In the world, man. He was right there with them.
I've read too, man, that the idea of Jesus is really like a literary archetype of like they were really resistant to kings. And the idea of a king is being more than another human. People really latched on to the idea of, that everybody was equal.
Yeah. And
so a lot of that is the literary change you see from the Old Testament to the New Testament. Like everybody, the joke is it's like God had he had an attitude adjustment. Like old God was a thug. Hey, don't even turn back and look at me, ho. I'll turn you into some table salt. Put you on some tacos. It's wild, man. I mean, but then how all of a sudden is God like new God? You know what I mean? And I do think like I'm sure there's some sort of, I always say linguistic gymnastics to explain all that stuff away. I still always point out that it's all coming from one book, and you have all these intelligent humans that are defining it in all these different ways. So, you're telling me that some third generation readers in the middle of Tennessee got it all figured out. I'm just saying, I don't know, bro.
Right.
And I'm not crapping on it. I mean, I think I've met some of the greatest people I've ever met there.
Oh yeah, man, me too.
But I still try to seek out, what is this? What am I teaching my kids? Am I 3 generations down the line blinded by, like I've talked about science, a lot of churches will talk against different scientific discoveries or whatever. So, what I said earlier is that the Bible talked about, what to do for future, because we're going to die. We're living these short, terrible lives. Your life is terrible. It's sad. Just believe in Jesus, and then you'll go on and you'll get this reward, because you're just be humble and you're poor and all that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the theme song. So, but then science comes in, and we start understanding the value of the now. We understand that we can prolong our lives. We can have more food. We can have vaccines. We can prevent some of the catastrophes, in nature.
Yeah.
Evacuations, warning systems. There's so much we've done through science. But then, how many Christian groups do you see that like almost like mock science?
Oh yeah, they're against it.
But here's the deal. Science can still not explain. we can do statistics and we can do data, but science can't explain some of the origins of truths that we know from the Bible, like, sacrifice. The idea of sacrifice, of either saving something for later, or like even like an Abraham type sacrifice where he was willing to kill his son. Like, right. It's crazy, and so those type stories, are true. And then, you have Hollywood renditions, comic books, Batman, whoever, that try to do these same type ideas. But, maybe I've said before, I have a theory that, maybe the Bible is basically like the written internet before we had the internet. Maybe it's just this collection of stories from, who knows how long, this oral tradition that was finally written down, and it's just a collection of everything we know. Like, all I'm saying is, because you're not gonna sit here and convince anyone who does. And I'm thinking, if someone just like, dude, why am I even listening to these dudes, these church dudes or whatever? What I'm saying is it doesn't even that part is it shouldn't even be a conversation. Here's this truth that has absolutely defined Western culture, and it absolutely is a good thing.
Right.
Don't just throw it out.
Right. Hey, definitely.
Because you know what? We have history where it was just thrown out.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you start having Stalin and Hitler and nationalism and all these other things. So
right.
I don't know.
Man, yeah. You were talking about the Bible, man. It's at the center of our life at my house. I mean, we believe it. And
you swear on it? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, don't call me.
Put it on the first 5.
Don't call me to court. I'll not put my hand on that. Every time I've gone by what it says, it benefited me. I mean, if you don't believe that, the whole God and Jesus thing.
I'm just saying maybe Jonah didn't live in the whale, man. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe he did.
Like, maybe.
I mean, seriously, maybe he did.
I guess what I would say to that, though, specifically, is you can't, like, you're taught in school how to reason and how to make, does this make sense? What do you observe in front of you? Like, what color is that? What color is this? But I think in a way we're taught not to do that with the Bible. We're just taught to, yeah, man, I know we didn't. Yeah, I know we had never seen anybody live in no fish. But y'all know he lived in the fish, right? Like, no, come on, man. I don't know. Like, why is it so bad if they are just stories? Why is it so bad if it is just a story and it's all made up? That's what I'm saying. I don't think it matters.
I think the application is what really matters. I mean,
like the literary implication of the Bible itself and how it changed governments, rising nations, United States of America. I mean, for all the bad that the United States of America is or has done, and I'm sure people would love to line up and give you a list.
It's still the greatest nation in the world.
They have still provided the opportunity for two people to see. Like, man, we're not worried about somebody busting through the door with some PPSHs and shoot us in the face because we're sitting here speaking out against some other group.
Right. We
can sit here and say whatever we want to say.
Welcome to America.
Welcome to America.
That's right.
And Tennessee, man.
That's right.
Like that Tennessee flag, bro?
I do it.
You're the first one to get the Tennessee
flag. I'm a Tennessee boy. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, and moved. I've lived in all 3 stars of the state, man.
I've lived in 2. I live in Memphis. Do you know what the stripe is for? I don't think it means anything. I think it's just a stripe.
Interstate 40.
It's straight and there's nothing on it.
Tip.
It's supposed to be a big tractor trailer.
Let me finish this thought.
Go.
In my discovery of how important the church is to me. And, man, I've got to reiterate this. Gosh, I don't want to turn people off. I'm not trying to preach against the church. Or that if you go to church, you're a sucker or anything like that, or you shouldn't go. If you're going and you're happy, I think you should. But I think if you need to take a time out to figure things out, I think it's okay. I think you and God can sit down and sort those things out. And so
I think it's about the journey. It's about seeking, man.
It is.
That is what I'm saying. Like, I think it could be.
It's about to get real. I just took my glasses off.
It could be so if I go to my wife and I say, "Hey, I don't believe in God anymore," that could be really scary to her.
Well,
because when somebody says, "I don't believe in God," then what they've been taught their entire life is, okay, all of a sudden that person's going to start drinking alcohol. They're going to start shooting dice, getting scratch-off tickets, quit their job, get a rusted-out pickup truck, get a couple DUIs, kill somebody and go to jail, get a barbed wire tattoo with "I love Mom." Whatever. You know what I mean? It's like you think it's going to turn into that. For some people, it does.
Right.
I don't know. But I think some people they want their man or they want their whoever to stay in church because it gives them some sort of insurance. Like, okay, they're going to be good. Like, if I keep them here, they're going to be good.
If he goes to church, he won't
it's like
look
this
at
parishioner
porn.
type idea. This like, flock.
Yeah.
I personally believe, I really believe this, and I know this about myself. I don't feel like I need that. Like, I don't if let's just say my family didn't exist. They absolutely exist, and I'm going to bring them back into the conversation here in a second. But if they don't exist, I do not think that I need, like, personally, when I'm being honest with myself, to have a moral code, I do not feel like I need to attend that church.
Right. The moral code's already stamped on you, bro.
Correct. And I'm 37, and I feel like I'm not just going to change the way I feel morally now.
Right.
And, a lot of that's even determined early on in your childhood based on like how you're cared for by your parents.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that stuff is, that's where a lot of the sociopath stuff comes from, is that early, unattention.
Yeah.
But
hey, you gotta let me finish my thought.
I thought you did. How am I to know?
No, I'll give you.
You go, bro. We got 16 hours.
I'll
Can we
scratch
do
my
it?
nose when I'm through with it.
Go. Sorry.
All right, no, man, no worries.
I'll drink some Coke.
Well, so now here we are, 4 years after 25 years of full-time ministry, and though we left on good terms.
Yeah, I think that's the first time you said that too. So he was a minister for 25 years.
Yeah. I started as a youth pastor in my early 20s and became a pastor of a great church up in East Tennessee, Trinity Baptist Church. Was their pastor for 15 years, and then I went to Central Florida, Union Church.
What's up, Union?
Yeah. That's where, Union Church was a great place for me because I was at the church in East Tennessee for 15 years. I was the pastor, but I was also the groundskeeper, the plumber, I did a lot of things. I was very, very busy and didn't have a whole lot of extra time to really, start to study the Word. And so when I went down there, I was on a staff with like 6 other pastors. Let's see, it was 5 or 6. But anyway, the load was divided. So I really got to study, and I was a small group pastor. And so I really got to study and prepare, and that changed my life. It really did. I started seeing things for what they were. So we left the ministry down in Florida. No scandal. I didn't get caught cheating on my wife, or they didn't find heroin in my pocket, nothing like that.
They didn't find it.
That's right. It was just time, man. It was time. I needed to discover some things. I needed to figure some things out. And so, all these 4 years, still studying the Word and living out what Jesus taught us to live, which is very important to me. I think that when Jesus said that all of this whole thing is about is loving God and loving your neighbors yourself, that's it. That seals the deal. That's it. But anyway, it was just time for a break, and we've taken a break, and I really think I've discovered what I need, and why I need the church is because we don't have any relationships. We've lived here for 5 years. First year, we really separated ourselves. We just took a break from church. Then we started trying some, but now we have no relationships. Our church in Florida was around 1,100 members. I was around a lot of people all the time. They were around me. They were at my house. I was at their house, and we don't have that. We've moved to Middle Tennessee 5 years ago, and you're the only friend I've got, man. Thanks so
I'm
much.
not laughing at you.
Real high quality guest.
No, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and so that's what we're lacking. And so I told my wife, I said, we're kind of still turned off by the church thing. Not against God,
but I don't think you have to agree with everything they're saying in there, man. That's my whole point. Like, so what if I go in there and I don't believe a word they're saying?
I don't want you to think that's what that's all about.
I know.
It's about
I know.
seeing through and knowing what's really going on behind the other side.
Yeah, but isn't that just people though, man? Heck yeah. Think about
bro, it's
jobs that you've had in the past.
Listen, here's the jury verdict is in. The whole thing's about me needing to grow up and get over some things, It really is. I became very indignant because I saw some really unholy things going on in the church. And I tried to stand up for what was right. But at the same time, I'm going through this whole growth process. And so I'm learning new things. And my faith is morphing into something that I feel like is more of what Jesus would have me be, and loving and being real inclusive, and not being so closed-minded, and becoming more concerned about helping the poor, and being empathetic, walk a mile in another man's shoes. But anyway, I digress. It's all about those relationships, man. We miss those terribly bad, as we've been talking, which we don't talk about this kind of stuff a whole lot.
No, and I know, and I know what that feels like, man. I really do. My wife and I moved to Memphis. We didn't know a soul, and we start trying to go to different churches, and the college that we went to was great. Like, everybody's jack for Jesus, man. They're jack for Jesus. And they're excited, man, and like, everybody's cool and everybody's studying. And, most of the
people, that's cool.
Like, most of the people, it's like church camp, but in college, it really was cool. And I know for some people, they may listen to this and go, "Oh man, whatever." Like, their college experience was totally different, and maybe they think I'm naive or came from some naive background. Like, I wouldn't change any of that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, regardless of any right or wrong, it still makes great people. I think I've met really great people, and then that relationship piece, like, we were trying to find churches, man, and it just wasn't, we're wearing like the "Hi, I'm a visitor," and nobody would say anything to us. And then we would try to go to like little Sunday night small groups and just try to get connected in with people, man. And it's hard, man, because most people genuinely, I think, want friends, but they're either too busy for them, or they already have friends and they just don't need more friends.
Right.
Or maybe there's something about you that's just off-putting. I don't know. But it's not easy. It's not, unless you're crazy.
Yeah.
I'm a little crazy, so I don't know. I guess it's not as hard. I don't know, man. I don't judge people, man, and I
don't either.
I always like people that are real. And that's one of the things, man, that, like, you're one of the most real people I've ever talked to. And I'm not just saying that to flatter you while you're sitting here. I'm just saying, me and you've had conversations about things that I don't have those same conversations with other people. And so to sit here and talk about how you don't have friends or not, I know several people that I can think of right offhand that have complained to me at some point or another, saying, like, it's hard to have grown up friends, or, like, and the church really, a church, not just the church, but any church or group or whatever, it gives you that opportunity. That's what that brethren thing is all about. But the problem with it is when it gets to where, like, now don't go anywhere, because you'll go to hell, and all that. I don't know about that.
Yeah, all that manipulation and guilt. It just, I don't know. It wore me down. But hey, my conclusion is, my wife and I were talking about it, and we need to either find a church and go to Sunday school. That's where real relationships are built and nurtured, or in those smaller settings, not during the worship service. And or a small group. I love small groups, man. We had a small group in Florida, and I loved it, man. We got into some deep conversations, and
Dude, I got some friends that go to a church out towards, like, Smyrna or something close to you.
Yeah, that's over by me. Yeah.
That they started it in, like, a house or something, and it was just like, it's a very eclectic group of people.
Yeah, yeah. That could be cool, or it could be kind of, cultish. You never know what you're getting into, But
yeah,
I trust. I'm not talking about your friends, though, bro. It just
they're in there
me.
like,
no, I don't mean your friends. I'm just talking anyway.
No, I know.
I'm just bullcrapping. But yeah, no. Anyway, I said all that to say that we really miss those relationships. So that's why I feel like the church is important. It offers those relationships that are just vitally important. My dad, when he was younger, in his 30s and 40s, man, they had all kinds of friends. I remember them coming over, and my dad would have a shrimp boil, and Mom would make a big salad, and she'd buy them club crackers like you get at a restaurant. And I thought we were rich on that night. Man, we had club crackers. But they had tons of friends. And as they got older, they just quit having friends. And I wonder, is that common, that as you get older?
Well, maybe it's because you stop doing stuff, man. Because, see, I don't think churches have the I don't think they have the monopoly on that either. I think you have groups that can surround bands.
Yeah.
Now maybe some of it's fleeting or it doesn't last long, but
right.
Like CRB. I mean, I know a guy who's a professor for a prominent Church of Christ college that he wrote his thesis on how the drive-by truckers, like how they have a group called the Heathens that follow the drive-by truckers.
Oh, is that what they're known as?
Yeah.
Instead of the Deadheads, the Heathens.
The Heathens.
The band of Heathens.
And that group is super tight. Like they do stuff for like that Nucci's or whatever, the suicide prevention, the artist suicide. I think it's called like Nucci Space or something like that. I'm probably saying that wrong. But yeah, man. So like I think there are other groups that exhibit those values.
Yeah.
Like I do think that when I'm saying that the Bible is important regardless of whether it's divine or not, which is like the stance I'm taking on this podcast. Like that's it. I'm not saying that's where I'm going to ultimately be, but that's where I'm at now. Is I'm saying it does not matter if it doesn't matter if it's divine or it's not divine. It's still divine to us because we can't think of anything better. We don't have anything better than what that is now. And it has made us at least develop ourselves out of cavemen bashing each other's heads in. Like the United States has at least shown that. And then, it's the same as like you have this hardcore Russia, and then you start having the liberal Europe, and then the Russians start kind of seeing that. They're seeing the movies. They want some of it, and then they get them a good dose of what they thought was going to be a liberal society. But yeah, man, I mean, the whole world, the reason I said that is the whole world will get a taste for this American, like, man, we just get to hang out, watch sports, do our jobs,
Yeah.
get paid fair, not get ripped off.
Yep.
Like, think about if you were going to work and every Friday it was a mystery whether your boss was actually going to pay you or not.
I've been there, bro. Church life's rough sometimes, man.
Oh, you got stiff by the churchies, bro.
Several times. We're going to have to delay y'all's pay. Yeah.
What you talking about?
I'll tell you this.
I'll be burning these songbooks for heat.
It's not. That's not happened to me in our current job.
I don't think that. I can't think of anybody ever stiffing me on pay, man.
Well, yeah. I think once you've had an unpleasant experience, you're glad to have a pleasant one for a while.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, yes.
Big time. Hey, I don't know if your guests normally do.
You want to take a break?
I got to pee.
No, this is perfectly fine. We can cut all this out. Go pee, man.
All right, cool. You spell your son's name B-Y-R-D or B-I-R-D?
B-Y-R-D.
That's what I thought.
Bird.
That's exactly what I thought, but I thought, you know what, dude? Just ask him.
Yeah, it's not offensive to me, man. I don't get offended. I hate the idea of even thinking about getting offended. Like, who am I? Who am I to get offended?
Yeah.
I'm not important. I'm just a dude who reads some stuff and thinks a lot.
Likes to talk.
And likes to talk. Therefore, I do this, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You do it for Craig.
Just me. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I just, it's my thought process. I'm trying to, figure out why am I here. And part of that, man, is raising kids. I mean, it's a huge responsibility when you're raising kids to get it right.
Yeah.
Those are my kids. That's my blood. And I think the final piece for me, man, that really locked that mentality in for me, not like a betterment thing, not like my family's better. I think everybody's family is equally as important. It's just they need to treat their family like it's important. So, I'm sitting there looking at my kids and I'm like, they really could be anything. I see, like the intelligence that I feel like I may have had or the cleverness of a child, just their ability to joke or to think about things in an adult way.
Yeah.
Early on, it's just it's beautiful to watch them do it, and I feel like as a parent, it's your responsibility to cultivate that, while at the same time, I was talking about this earlier, I think, is getting your kid to where society accepts them and it's easy to interact with them.
Yeah.
So the kids that are running around acting crazy and making tons of noise and annoying and, adults don't like them. Well, how do you think they're going to be as adults? You think adults are going to like them as adults? So if you're teaching your kid, to be honorable in the sight of adults, yeah, I mean, isn't that the point of all of it? But it's not always easy to do, man. Like, you don't want to, it's not always easy to discipline your kids or to want to take the tough stance, but, they only get two parents. They can have other friends. Sometimes it's not about being their friend.
That's right. Sometimes they need to hear that hard truth.
But I think kids want that, man. I think they want that structure.
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, I might have gone too far. I never taught my kids that Santa was real. I just didn't.
We didn't do that either.
Yeah,
we didn't teach them that.
I thought, man, that's such a lie. I don't. And then because I remember as a kid, I remember the exact moment when I realized Santa wasn't real. Dude, it was I probably needed therapy for it.
I don't remember that happening.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yo, this incense is on point, bro.
You like the smell of it?
I really do.
What does it smell like?
What do you mean, what does it smell like?
I don't smell it. Is it
it's
earthy or fruity or spicy?
No, it's Nag Champa. It's a pretty pretty popular one. They sell it at Whole Foods, bro, so it's got to be good, right?
It's got to be. Whole Foods, you probably eat that.
You know what I like about one thing I do like about incense? It's one of the only times you can see how air flows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I think it's cool. I watch it sometimes. So I have a fan. I have a little fan in the garage, and you'll see it kind of floating, and then all of a sudden it just gets zipped in.
Yeah.
They kill baby chicks that way. They have the little grinders where they're checking the sex of the chicks, and they just throw them in. It's just these blades.
Yeah.
Just.
That's terrible.
for them, I guess.
Appreciate you sharing that.
And then they make chicken nuggets out of it.
No way.
No, I have no idea.
I was going to say.
Right. I mean, they might. I don't know.
Well, they probably do. Potted meat.
Spam.
Yeah.
They add some bone and cartilage.
Who knows?
That's wild.
You're talking about kids, though, man. I think what kids do is they take the focus off of ourselves, and we have to pour it into somebody else, and it becomes very tiring, but it's so gratifying at the same time. You're just pouring your life into a little human, and to watch them grow up and see them doing things that make you proud, it's a special time. It really is. I tell you all the time, soak it up, man, because they grow up so fast, and
I think they need to hear those things too. I think they need to hear how special the stuff they're doing.
Yeah, me too. We were very always affirming with our kids. We let them express themselves. But Max, our youngest, he would go, want to go to church in a pair of cowboy boots and gym shorts and a tank top, and we just let him. Who cares? It's just clothes. At least he's wanting to wear them.
Yeah.
I mean, we just
that is step one of being a parent. You teach your child to not be naked.
Right, exactly.
Because naked children.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's right. If you've missed out on that as a parent, to teach your child that
just don't be naked.
Yeah, then
that's
you have
step one.
failed as a parent.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just rule number one. Don't even go to page 2. Yeah.
Like, you're not even doing numbers or ABCs. It's the naked thing first.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Who cares if
having
you can
clothes
count?
on is culturally acceptable, and everything else is.
Yeah.
I guess though, man. But I feel like people now, bro. I see girls at the gym, bro, that are absolutely dressed what I would feel like is scandalous. Just insanely form-fitting, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's.
You've got some girls. I've got 2 boys. I didn't have.
You're not complaining about it, I guess. So.
It's not that I'm not complaining. I'm very grateful that I didn't have to raise girls. I feel for parents who raise girls. I really do. It's got to be hard. I mean, not that girls are vicious or mean. It just.
Do you think it's just the expectation that girls have to be something extra, or do you think it's the vulnerability of females as weaker in strength? What I don't,
To me, it just seems like there's more to worry about. I mean, with with girls, uh,
Yeah, I guess that'd be vulnerability, right?
I don't know. You're going to have to define it for me because you've got a boy and girls. So I was just always thankful that. Well, first of all, that we even had children. Very grateful for that. But for whatever reason, I was a proud dad and still am. Still am. Glad I had boys that could share the things that I like.
You know, I never understood having three girls first, and then having a boy. We used to have people, oh, you're going to keep trying, you're going to keep trying to have a boy. And I never cared. You know, actually, when my first child was born, I remember thinking when we were going to find out what the sex of what she was going to be, I was going to be disappointed if it was a boy. Like, I wanted a little girl. Just, I don't know why. In my head, I guess I romanticized the idea of having like just a little girl, this little
Yeah.
sweet girl.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if that's from, you know, I like my wife. I like my wife's feminine qualities. And so then having that embodied in this, you know, little baby monkey baby. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. And then me and her, I stayed home with her for 6 months. Stay at home dad. We'd watch samurai movies.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a side that I missed as a dad is that daddy's little girl.
Oh, and I got
man.
3 of those.
Oh, I know. I see them the way
they do everything.
interact
You know,
with
they'll bring me. They'll bring me cups of water.
Yeah.
I don't even ask them. They'll do nice things for like. They'll make me like peanut butter sandwiches and just here, Dad.
Oh, I would have spoiled a girl to death. I would have, man, no doubt.
Yeah, I try to think if I do spoil them or not. I don't know, man. I'm pretty conditioned to the girl piece.
Yeah.
Like I kind of know what they need, and what support they need, and what they need. Sometimes, man, I think kids they just want to see that you're watching and observing them. You know, and I try to dial it back in my head sometimes. Like think about the way you see lions depicted, or like if you see on National Geographic, what do you see? You see you see them circled up, you know, the big moms or whatever, and they're watching over the cubs, and then where's the dad? You know, maybe he's perched up on a rock or whatever,
Yeah.
but he's maybe away. You know, he's off doing work. You know, and that's kind of the historical masculine idea.
Right.
But then think about how important it is for a child if the dad in that lion story that I'm telling were to turn around and observe their child and watch them, and think about how excited kids get, or you remember your kids getting when, hey, Dad, watch me do this, watch me flip,
yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
And think about how big that is, you know, and sometimes I search back for memories like that, you know, seeing, getting some sort of gratification from something my dad said or like whatever. And,
Yeah.
you know, there's sometimes I can think about very specific memories of stuff like that happening.
Yeah.
And so you never know, but kids really need that.
Yeah, I tell both of my sons, even my oldest, who doesn't live with us, that I'm proud of them. I tell them that all the time, that I'm proud of them, and not for any particular reason. I try to do it even on days that they've not, you know, done something that's worthy of praise. Just to tell them, hey, I'm proud of you because you've turned out to be a decent human being. You know, I'm proud of you.
Well, life is hard for everybody, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody gets through life and it's not hard or difficult or challenging in some way. You know, I mean, and everybody's path is different, and they're observing you deal with what the cards you've been dealt.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I don't want to go back into the religious piece, but I do think these are truths that are taught there, that, you know, you play the best with the cards that you're dealt.
Yeah.
You know, some people, the best they'll ever be is a door greeter at Walmart. But if that's your card,
And you'd be the best.
and you be the best, happiest door greeter there, man, and just own it,
Yeah.
and don't care what anybody thinks. And, you know, so I don't know, man. It's really wild to see kids grow up. But then the son piece, then having that little, you know, dude,
Yeah.
Like, dude in the foxhole with me.
Yeah.
You know, I told you know, and I think the women, when I was describing the little girl thing, I think women definitely, I can see it now with my wife. Like, she wants him to be the perfect little man, you know?
Yeah.
Like everything that she aspired me to be, and, you know, still asks of me, I guess you could say. She wants to instill that on him, if not more, you know, maybe even work out some of my quirks in him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which is what we do on a basic sense as humans anyway. It's why we still exist on this planet, because this planet keeps trying to kill us. But we just keep throw the weak one off the wagon, but this one over here, he looks like he's going to live. We're going to teach him some stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he'll better.
Yeah. You know, something I've learned in life that you don't mess with is a mama. I mean,
Oh, bro.
my wife, we've been married for 30 years, and she was always a very peaceful, even placid woman. But man, when I saw somebody like say something to our children, and man, she came to life. It was wonderful to watch. She's just like, yeah.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah.
And in our society, they can get away with it, right? Like 1600s, they got their teeth knocked out or whatever. But
Yeah.
I love that. My
Me
wife's
too.
her grandmother. Oh man, she was a spitfire, dude. Oh, she would, not in a mean way, just like in a very, you know, right, and like, you know, you're not gonna do us this way, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to describe that, but just she was like this tall. She was a little lady. She also used to speed. She'd drive real fast.
Oh, would she?
Yeah. Man, those were the coolest people. They really were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard you've told a lot of stories about them. They sound cool.
Yeah, man. They were unreal. He was in the military. He played golf. Dude, he played golf into his 90s.
Man, that's great.
You know, and the best quality that I saw in him that I'm telling you, man, I've never seen in another human being in my life. I can honestly say if Jesus were standing right beside me, I would still say this. I never heard him. I can't think of one memory of him saying anything bad about anybody.
That's awesome.
Not the crazy little, you know, weird cousin or anything.
Yeah.
Anything. He just didn't. No, I'm saying, like, you know how everybody's like, oh man, Itchy Larry or whatever. You know what I mean?
Just Larry, everybody. We all just
He's going to stumble in here, man. He's going to stumble in here with his ham sandwich and his mayonnaise, man. With his britches about half buckled. Freaking Itchy Larry.
Mayonnaise on both sides of his mouth.
He probably got in a bar fight last night, got his mouth busted open, man. He better bring Grandma's casserole recipe, too. Yeah, just that crap.
Yeah.
You know, I was sitting here, I was talking to my buddy Jeff Boggs, he's a fireman, and he was talking about, he went to the Eagles concert with his cousin. And I said, hold up. I said, do you understand how funny that might be to people who, you know, maybe are like only one or two generation Americans, or, you know, a lot of people displaced now and move because of college and opportunity. I was like, do you know how funny it might be to somebody to hear you say that you're hanging out and like doing stuff with your cousins? I was like, but that's a thing, man. Like,
yeah.
that's a thing for us. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
I think it's real cool.
Yeah.
Because it's your blood in some way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Family is, golly, that's what it's all about.
Do you still do like family reunions or any of that?
Well, my mom's side still does one down in Bruce, Mississippi, but I've not been to it in years.
Bruce, that sounds like a hard place.
Yeah.
I never heard of Bruce, Mississippi.
It's real small. Yeah. Man, I could tell you some funny stories about that, but I won't. About my dad. Got a great one about that.
How far is that from Memphis?
Oh, a couple hours.
Dude, there's not... Mississippi's sad, bro. They don't have shoulders on their interstates, bro. Like, it's like 2 foot of gravel.
Man, everybody in Mississippi hates you now.
Ain't nobody in Mississippi listens. They don't have electricity, do they? Hey, man, I can see analytics on these videos, and ain't nobody in Mississippi watching this. I don't have anything against Mississippi. I mean, I think it's really silly, man. Have you seen their new flag? This is totally controversial, but they had the little Confederate flag in the corner.
Yeah.
But now it's got some kind of like little flower on it, and it says it's got like "In God We Trust" or something. Which I guess if you were like romantically naive, you could say, well, that's a pretty good trade-off. Like if this is offending people, then we could still get our "In God We Trust" and like everybody's happy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just don't understand why we're still fighting over that type stuff. It's so stupid, dude. I mean, it's just whatever any of that stuff is. I don't necessarily care what any of those people are doing, bro. I really don't. It's like, I don't know if we were talking out there in here, but it's just like, I have so much that I can do to affect my life right here in my lap.
That's exactly right.
That I really don't care what anybody's doing and what shoes they're stealing or who did what, or this need to watch TV and be part of the court of opinion of our society.
Yeah.
That's a terrible hobby. It's not fun. Yeah.
It's toxic. Yeah.
And I focused during COVID on just listening to the music, man. I just kept listening to records and I was listening to tons of podcasts and reading. And like, then I just had to do this.
Yeah.
And it's been good, man.
Yeah, it's been therapeutic, I bet.
And it's always good to hear other people's perspectives too.
Yeah. Everybody's got a story, man. That's a perspective that we should all keep in mind. Everybody's got a story. Some of us are trying to, hide it when nobody can ever see it, but some people have a story to tell if we'll just listen.
Dude, I have this, maybe since you're giving me a session here, helping me with my psychotic episodes. I don't have psychotic episodes. That was a joke. But I really don't.
Not that you'll record anyway.
That'd be wild. We should find people that have psychotic episodes.
Yeah. Be interesting to get their perspective. That's all you're looking for, right? Just other people's perspective.
Dude, I had a friend of mine. I totally lost my train of thought, so I'll tell you this. My buddy called me, and I was talking to him about, like, getting people to talk on the podcast and thinking about what it could be. And he calls me and goes, "Hey, man, what about if you talk to a prostitute?" And I said, "Bro, I really like where your head's at. Really, I do. Like, I really like where you're thinking."
Yeah, I hear you.
Like, who would Jesus talk to? Like that.
Right, yeah.
I said, but I just convinced my wife to let me buy this stuff. I can't go second episode prostitute, bro. Like, let's just hang on to this one for a while and let me think about it.
Maybe
I said, I also
19.
don't want to get it stolen outside some Motel 6 somewhere. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. What were we talking about before that?
I don't know. Anytime that prostitution gets into the conversation, it's like, how did we get here?
It's like right before Hitler, which I think we've also already said.
Yeah, how did we get to prostitution?
Dude, we were talking about Dan Arbach too, man.
Yeah, I was just about to say we were listening to the Black Keys' new album.
How does he get the sounds that he gets? I really feel like his studio, like the capture, is insane. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like how clean it is?
Well, I've never seen them live, and so that'd be my question is.
Well, I saw them. Well, you could look on YouTube, the Live at Grammys.
Yeah.
I saw them from Me to You.
Yeah.
I mean, like ripping,
I've
and
never
that was
seen
insane. I saw them at Young Avenue Deli in Memphis. That place is cool, man. You could go in there and like get food, and it's a little outside of Midtown Memphis or in Midtown Memphis. I don't know what they consider that, but you could like eat, and the band would be setting their stuff up. Like it wasn't big, it was just like a couple hundred people being there, like a pool hall kind of place.
Yeah.
And so we were seeing the Black Keys in there. So we figured all that out, that you could go just sit in there and eat. And so we sat there and watched them warm up and set their stuff up. So it was like getting a preset. And then, of course, stood right there on the stage and saw them just rip. And then I saw them at Mercy Lounge several times. And then I kind of went through this phase, man, where I didn't want to see people at the Ryman. Like I don't know. It was too big for me, you know?
Yeah, okay, I get that.
And maybe that was some sort of little, I'm not a hipster at all. But maybe that's one of those kind of like hipster kind of anti-ideas. Like, oh, if other people are into it, I don't want to mess with it. Like maybe it could have been some of that. I don't know. But like what it was too, man, is we were seeing all the bands like Kings of Leon. We were seeing them at Exit In. And so we were seeing them at all these small places, Mercy Lounge.
All right.
And then what's that place we go to where Vince Gill used to play?
Third and
Lindsley. So that place kind of expanded. It wasn't as cool as it kind of is now.
Yeah.
Like it was okay, but so we were seeing all those bands at those smaller venues. Well, then when they started upgrading to the Ryman, then it's like, oh man, I'm wanting to stand in crowds and whatever. I'm not trying to go sit in some pews and like that's lame. I mean, I was young. I was 20 something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then when your bands are starting to go there, it's like, nah, dude, I'm out.
Yeah.
But now that's where I want to see everybody.
Yeah, it's a special place.
Yeah. You get in a fight there.
Somebody be throwing some popcorn.
People throw popcorn, dude. What's up with that?
Selfish. Man, we live in a society full of selfish people. It's all about me. It's all about my experience. Who cares? Look, dude, if you go to a concert, there's a likelihood you're not going to get to sit down and see the whole show. It's just probably not going to happen because people like me like to dance, Jack. I want to live in the moment. I can sit at the house with my arms folded and listening to the darn thing. What do you think? If you want to dance at a concert...
Hey, bro, you want to know what I told a dude one time?
What?
And then I remembered what I was going to say a minute ago, and I really want you to help me with an idea that I have. So I'm going to poke myself in the leg. I can't remember that. I had a girl throw popcorn at me. I was so into Steve Earle. I'm kind of jocking on Steve Earle right now.
Yeah, you like him. I know.
Dude,
you always have.
He's always been nice to me too, man. I've met him and talked to him. Do you know he comes out after his shows and like he'll meet people at the merch booth and just talk to them?
Yeah, you've told me that. He's real personable.
Yeah, he's just a cool dude, man. I mean, he's whatever,
I like people like that.
Yeah, he's nice. And he's good at what he does. He's a killer guitar player. And he's evidently really good at keeping cool, good, young, talented, really talented guys on his band, because his band is dude, his band is hot right this second. Yeah. I'm telling you. But my problem is, bro, is that I keep forgetting what I'm trying to say. What are we saying, man? Steve Earle.
Small venues. Black Keys. Oh, they are. I was asked you, did you see them live? And I'm not dissing the Black Keys.
No. Yeah, when they started adding people to their band, that was weird.
Yeah.
And because it used to be just them, and then they add people to the band so they can do more stuff live. But
yeah, that my son and Colby that were here on your podcast, they're real. Some people may think, hey, those two kids are pretty good. They must not be able to find a bass player. And I just don't think that's the case. I think they're embracing that whole two-piece thing, like the Black Keys. And they really embrace that. But the reason I asked you about them playing live is I've listened to music over the years. I've always been impressed by the bands that what you heard on the album is exactly what you heard at the concert. I mean, it was just, maybe not note for note, but the sound, the tone and the sound was the same.
You know what's a little disappointing, I think, is the opposite of that. Is so when a band, like I can think of bands that their albums are okay, but then you see them live, Gary Clark Jr., the show where we were getting popcorn thrown at us. And then, he's singing in all that, like all that stuff. And me and you are just like, whatever he wants to do. I'm not ripping on dude's music, but we'd rather you sing the other way, bro. But that's just my opinion. I'm one dude. Well, but then you get people, I don't know, man, like there's people that are talented and then they get on stage and it's just like throwing gas on them.
Right.
And they're just insane. Jimi Hendrix was that way. His record sucked, bro. Like, I mean, they're okay. You listen to them, but like they're weirdly tracked, and he was trying to be the Beatles, and he was trying to be experimental. But yeah, dude, Steve Earle. So the reason I said that, I can do this now. So Steve Earle, I was sitting there really close. I had really good tickets to him. But it like everybody that goes to see Steve Earle's old, bro. They're like 50, 60. And for some reason, I guess I was born way too
Come on, bro.
And so I'm 30 going to his shows. And like he had this ripping album that So You Want to Be an Outlaw. And I mean, dude, his band, and he's playing the Ramen, man. And like I think it sold out, I'm pretty sure. Like it sold really well. He had Lucero from Memphis open up for him. That band's killer. And so I'm standing up just like really into it. And in my head, I'm thinking, I'm just excited. Like it was the best thing I heard that year. And I was just excited. And I was like, okay, when he gets to a slow song, because he does slow songs, he does a show. And I was like, I'll sit down. But like 3 songs, he's just ripping. And I'm, he's Neil Young to me right then,
Yeah.
Like he is killing it. And somebody throws some popcorn at me. And, so I turn around and I'm like throwing popcorn at me or whatever. And they're like, demanding that I sit down, which, honestly, man, I would have sat down. I really would have. And then she said, I don't remember. She said something crazy, cussed at me or whatever. And I said, is that your boyfriend? And she was like, yeah. And I said, well, you probably need to get you a better boyfriend that'll get you some better tickets. And then you won't have to sit behind me while I stand up. And then I just like stood up for a really long time. But I don't know, man. I try not to be prideful like that either anymore.
Yeah, I get it.
But so when I tell stories like that, this is what I was going to say earlier, what I forgot. I've remembered now. So if I tell a story like that, there's this story where I lived in my old neighborhood, and I got into it with this lady that lived behind me, and she was crazy, bro. Like she was historically crazy, like documented crazy, like burned her house down several times because she'd get evicted crazy.
Yeah.
Well, she had like 11 kids, like 13 kids in this house. I'm not kidding. And it was like a 800 square foot house, little video house, like the little MDHA 1960s houses. That's what it was. And so these boys were throwing trash over my fence. Like it was across the street and they were throwing trash over my fence.
Yeah. How old are these boys?
I don't know, man. 13.
Okay. Yeah.
14. Just, I don't know if they really meant anything by it, bro. Like, they're not just being I think they were just being just punk kids.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And so I go over there and I'm like, hey, man, I'm like, dude, go pick that trash up out of my yard, bro. Like, go pick it up. Like, because one of them, like, didn't make it. I'm like, go pick it up. I was like, I don't throw trash in your yard. Why are you throwing trash in my yard? Like, it's ridiculous. Because they had been doing it quite a bit. Like, I would see stuff over there. That's why I was out there. Is I was like, dude, I'm gonna catch them doing it, and I'm gonna say something to them. And see, people don't understand that though, bro. In the hood, like I lived in the hood, and people can get offended all they want at me saying the hood, but I live there. I can say it all I want, bro. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff. I've seen a 13-year-old girl living on the back porch of the house right next to me, abandoned house. 13-year-old girl run away from Murfreesboro. That's no joke. And then you see like, some hooker and some dude pull up in the car in the lot next to you, and they're just kind of sitting there, acting all weird, and you got to run them off. Or a dude smoking crack out in front of my house, run him off. I mean, guy gets out of jail. I had a buddy down the street. He used to call me. There's a guy that would get out of jail. Every time he'd get out of jail, houses would just start getting broken into. And dude, he broke. I don't know if it was him, but the dude across the street from me got broken into. And they even stole like a half-drink bottle of wine out of his refrigerator. Just like stupid stuff, bro. And
sometimes when you're breaking
jaded
house,
to that stuff,
you just need some wine.
But here's my question to you, man. Like when I tell those stories, when you're talking about your experiences, and like my wife was even saying today, she's like, dude, I feel like we've seen some hard stuff for being 37 where I lived. Yeah. And I would sit here with Reverend Jesse Jackson, anybody in the world, bro. I'm telling you, I would have this conversation. Like, I've seen some crap, dude. I've seen some crap in inner city Nashville that like bothers me to my core. I've seen families suffering. I've like on the street next to my house, there was a little kid that wasn't being watched that ran out the street and got hit and killed. I mean, there's dogs wandering. Like, I don't even really care about dogs anymore. I know you're a dog dude, but
a dog dude.
I guess, Ty, I don't want to talk about the religious piece. I guess I'm saying that I think there's some conversations that need to be had.
Yeah.
You know, why are we still allowing as a society pockets of people to have to live like animals?
I agree.
Which I'm telling you that I have experienced, that there's no opportunities. There's no I mean, there are now. There's like restaurants that are coming in there, but it's, you know, everything's like changing, and you probably remember me getting real ticked off at Grimey's.
Yeah.
And like how, you know, they moving into Trinity Lane, and then they take this old church and then they just paint a bunch of white people on the outside of it.
Yeah.
Like that. Go look at it. It's right there. Like that's a transitional black neighborhood.
Right.
Like there's a rub to that. That there's, you know, people don't want to see their neighborhood changed, and then like you're kind of getting nudged out. It's a weird thing, dude.
Or they come in and start redeveloping it, and the prices go up, and you can't afford to live there anymore.
But like, here's my thing. So when I'm telling those stories, when I'm talking about like, dude, I had a car set on fire in that lot next to me, bro, with the abandoned house. It was like, bro, it was so many problems. Somebody parked like one of those little like Lexus small crossover little SUV thing.
Yeah.
Like parked it in that lot, dude, and torched it right there. Yep. And so I'm laying in bed, and my neighbor, bro, I want to go talk. He's so funny, bro. I had this neighbor that lived down the street from me. He came running over, beating on the door. And he's like, Craig, call 911, call 911. And I'm like, what's going on? He goes, look out back. So I go running out back, just like flames. And so I grabbed my hose, because I have like a shed that I had built. And that's an understatement. Like, this thing was beautiful, dude. It matched my house. Like, it was it was like one of my greatest art achievements. It was killer. And yeah, I'm like trying to spray the fence just to keep the fence wet, hoping my fence doesn't catch on fire. And then, of course, you know, I can hear, you know, Metro 3s. They were headed over, and they were there pretty quick. And then, you know, they just put it out. And here's what's funny, bro. Come to find out, there was a dude cutting his grass. Like, he could see in the alley where they had pulled the car, saw the whole thing. Like, saw the dude dump the car, saw the dude light the car, saw the dude run off and everything. Never said a word. Like, never said anything to anybody.
So I wonder, was it stolen, or?
I don't know. I probably couldn't make the payments or something, man. Insurance. But here's my question, man. So when I tell those stories, there's always like this guilt that comes afterwards, where it's like I'm sharing my experience of something that I feel like but it's like these harsh stories.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, I do feel like me and my wife, like, we lived in Memphis for a while, and then we lived like living in an inner city place, and the side of East Nashville that we were in was McFerrin Park. And so it kind of everything around there was getting better except McFerrin Park. Like even across another little road, Cleveland Park, it was getting nicer because the houses were like cheaper. But
yeah,
you know, but I like share these stories, but then I just wonder like how do people receive that, or like like what am I trying to achieve by telling those stories, and I don't know, man. It's almost like a little bit of PTSD to it or something.
Maybe you're not trying to achieve anything. Maybe you're just trying to share your story. You know, we've all got that story to tell.
I think there's some guilt too, man. Like, not guilt. That's not the right word. It's heavy to have seen like how deep, I guess, evil can go.
Yeah. Or
how deep despondency or disparity can go.
I bet you it's made you a better dad. Seeing what's out there that our kids
lurking.
Yeah, it's just lurking.
You know, I think there's a certain level of it, like enlightenment to that too. Jordan Peterson talks about it. Like once you understand the depths and like the source of where evil comes from, or like how evil, you know, it's like the same reason why we teach history. Like, why do we care what happened in the past? Who really cares? Yeah. Well, because it can teach you some things.
Yeah.
It can show you that, hey, societies have done X, Y, and Z in the past, and this is what happens.
Right.
You know, a man has 90 wives. Here's history. This is what happens.
Right.
You know, bro, Russian history, dude. Are you into that?
No, not at all. I don't even want to talk about it, to be honest.
Don't. We won't, bro. They're wild.
I'm just
They're
sorry.
wild, bro.
I'm just playing.
But there's a lot to be
I'm
learned
playing.
there, man. You can see, like,
Yeah.
just like you don't even have to go there. Think about just the levels of torture and capital punishment of the past, like ripping people. Like, just think about the stuff
Yeah.
people will do to each other.
Yeah.
Do you know monkeys do the same thing? Chimpanzees?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there was this lady that was like studying chimpanzees. I forget her name. And she started observing that they would like kill each other. Like
Wow.
if there were too many of them, and she started thinking that she was influencing them. And so she didn't tell people at first because she thought they were like, that maybe she was rubbing off of them and like they were getting the human nature, but no, like they would, and even like, let's say you were in my chimpanzee pack and then you like got separated and went and started your own little whatever.
Yeah.
And then you came back, they'd kill you.
Really?
Like stuff like that. Yeah. Like they're
Yeah.
OGs, dude.
Yeah. Territorial, it sounds like. Hey.
Rip each other apart.
Yeah.
It's insane. But we do that. Humans do that. Or
Yeah.
used to.
Yeah. We were talking, excuse me, bro. These allergies. Are you having any allergies? I looked on
No.
the
is
Weather
answer.
Channel today, and grass pollen is extremely high.
What?
Yeah. It's not high, extremely high.
Dude, we really do have pretty easy times, I feel like now. I mean,
Oh
I know
my
everybody
gosh.
got worked up last year.
That's what it's
And everything's so crazy, but I mean-
frog in my throat. We were out there talking about what were the things 100 years. What were the things that people were thinking about? And
Not getting diarrhea to death.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like they didn't have Pepto-Bismol and bananas.
yeah. I mean, for real. I mean, they were
Yeah.
they were spinning their
I'm not making a joke. That was
bro. I know they were spending every fiber of their being just to stay alive. And now, man, we to think of the things that are at the forefront of what we care so much about and spend so much of our time about.
We just get mad because like a Pink Floyd record's not on Spotify or something.
For real.
Yeah.
Man, road rage. There was like 3 or 4 road rage incidents over in Murfreesboro last weekend. I mean, for real, I've seen people that are crazy on the roads.
Have you ever had a dog that died?
Yeah, I ran over it myself and killed it in my driveway.
Dude?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I did, man.
All right. So the reason I brought that up, you know that there's like a moment of clarity after your dog dies.
Yeah.
Like I had a dog my favorite dog that I ever had was a husky. Her name was Carmen. And I rescued her from the Laotians across the street from me that used to like beat her like with like this caning stick thing. And I finally got sick of it and walked over there and was like, "Hey man, what are you doing with this dog?" And they're like, we need boy, you take. I was like, all right, took it. And
So
we
it was
need
a
boy.
girl?
Yeah, she was a girl, Carmen. She was named after we're talking about Carmen and the devil walking side by side in the band song.
Yeah.
So I named her after that. But
The band.
she was a killer dog, man. And then we never did really figure out what happened to her, but she passed away. But there's like this moment of clarity after a dog dies where like I'm sitting there at work and I was working at a paint store at the time and somebody'd come in, you know, and they'd be, which color do you think is blah, blah? And you're just like, man, I don't care about your color on your wall. I really don't. Like I have to pretend like I do,
Yeah.
but I really don't. And like that moment of clarity right there, dude, like you really can see like what's important and what actually matters.
Yeah.
And I think you can get to a point like that in your life where when you have your family as the center of your life, when like the education of your kids is important and you're really just focused on the basic necessities
Yeah.
of, is this kid getting the care they need?
That's right.
Are they getting some sort of artistic outlet? Am I pushing them? Is there some sort of skill that they're exhibiting that I could encourage? Like that's one thing that I'd applaud you on. Again, I'm not trying to flatter you by saying that, but like your son and his musical talent, like you see something inside your kid, you need to encourage them,
Right.
you know, because even if they're going to be talented, even if they're going to be good, they're still going to have to be smart and social enough to go out and make it float,
Still
make
gotta-
it make money.
Still got to navigate life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's my main responsibility is to give him the tools, both of them, to navigate through life. Not, what kind of music they listen to. There was a time where Max was listening to nothing but the Allman Brothers Band and the Band and Faces. And I mean, I was like, yeah. And then he started listening to metal and things, and I was like, deep down, he chuckles about this. He brought me a song on Spotify and wanted me to hear it, and it was kind of some screamo metal stuff, and I just don't care for that. But rather than tell him, son, that's some stupid music you're listening to, that sucks, I said, hey, I'm glad you like that. And we still use that with each other today. If I'll tell him something I believe or I'm thinking about it, I say, yeah, glad that's what you believe. That's our way of saying, I hate that, but you're a human being and you deserve the respect.
But I think that's wise, man. Like that's a wise way to be.
Yeah,
right?
I think. It's what I aspire to be.
Why do we fight all the time and bicker?
Man, it all goes down. Fights are always about somebody being selfish. It is. A fight exists because somebody wants their way. And boy, I think we have a lot of entitlement in our country today. Maybe we always have, but maybe I just notice it. Or maybe really it is getting worse. But, I deserve this. I'm going to take it. I deserve this. I'm going to do it. And I don't deserve anything. God has really blessed my life big time. But it's not because I deserved it. I'll tell you that. But that entitlement, it's a real turnoff for me. I don't like it at all. No, work. We talk about work sometimes. Most of the time, we just talk about things like this. But if I don't like what's going on at work, are they still paying me? Are they keeping their end of the deal on that? If they are, what am I so mad about? And not just at work, but in all facets of my life. It's just when I start wanting my way, and things aren't going the way I want them to, is when I become a person I don't want to be. Be honest with you.
Somewhere where I really find my happy spot is making other people happy.
Man, me too.
And it does seem like an oxymoron or cheesy or whatever, but when you do something, when you actually think about someone else, and it could be a family member, it could be someone who's adding value to your life.
Yeah.
And then you do some little thing to recognize them in some way, or maybe they don't even deserve it, or you don't know them. You're just creating a door that doesn't exist, and you just do something nice.
Yeah.
Most of us, I mean, dude, we would throw $30 away on a pizza. It wasn't anything.
Yeah.
With no reputation behind it at all. Man, I'm going to try this pizza. We would light $30 on fire for a pizza.
Yeah.
I'm not lying.
I would right now.
Dude, I would tear a pizza. I got a buddy that owns a pizza joint here, and he's cool. He does jujitsu with me.
I was talking a moment ago about that, having relationships. That's another way to be in relationships.
I've never seen anything like it in my life, to be honest. And it's more impressive to me than modern secular, or not secular, but modern organized religion. I'm not kidding.
The community there is really tight.
Yeah, it
Sounds
is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think there's a couple reasons for it. I have this theory, dude, that you know how everybody knows one dude that's just bro, that dude's cool. He's wild.
Yeah.
I think they're all over at jiu-jitsu, bro. I think everybody that knew a dude like that, all those dudes have now met up over there.
Over the
yeah.
Yeah.
Because everybody's just this eccentric or different, there's one guy he's a police officer. There's tons of firefighters, which is really cool to me too, man, because my dad is a firefighter, my grandfather was a firefighter,
Right.
my brother's a fireman. I didn't do it, but I'm sitting here, getting to know other guys that do it. And then my wife, we have a really good friend that he's a fireman here in town. And then like half the dudes that work out over at the gym, at the weightlifting gym, are firemen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, man. Like there's a lot of that here, and I like those type people. There's some sort of humility that, I mean, not that firefighters aren't cocky or, just dudes kind of being fun or whatever.
Right.
But like, man, there's something noble. There really is something noble to what those guys are doing.
I agree.
And to take that up, and yeah, they should all be getting paid more for sure.
I agree. Totally.
But
yeah.
Yeah, man, but all those guys have met up over there.
At the jiu-jitsu place.
But
and
then,
you guys, I mean, y'all really fight, too. I mean, y'all don't fist fight like alley fight.
Well, some of them, yeah, they do sometimes. They have the MMA classes. I think it's 6 o'clock in the morning on like Tuesdays and Thursdays.
6 o'clock in the morning. It'd be hard for me to punch.
Bro, I'm getting up to like pee at 6 o'clock in the morning to like get 2 hours.
And then go back to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. It'd be
like
hard.
I'm checking it like, baby, I got 2 more hours in this pillow.
Oh, I'm right there with you, bro. Do that same dance back
Same
to the
thing
bed.
with the little barefooted too, all the way back in khakis.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're in there choking each other out and not killing each other.
Yeah.
And not breaking each other's ankles and wrists and everything. It's rough, man. And I don't claim to know all about it, but what I do know from what I've seen is you would think that like every now and then somebody's temper would flare up and people get ticked off. So. I've never seen it. I've never seen that. And you are, throwing, tackling, trying to arm bar and choke each other out. It's wild, bro.
And then when it's all done, just be pals.
And then the first thing you do, and then it's cool.
It's kind of like an extreme form of workout for you guys, right? I mean,
Dude, I've lost 20 pounds.
Yeah, I can tell. It's been a while since I've seen you. Well, not a long time.
I was down to 25, but I had a pizza.
Dang.
Something blowed up.
That must have been a heck of a pizza,
It was a heck of a pizza.
Where do you get pizza around here?
Nellie's.
That's
where I get it now. If you'd asked me 2 days ago, I would have said Jets. You like Jets pizza?
Yeah. Yeah, I dig it.
So they make the thick crust, like Detroit style.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I love that, dude.
At Jets or Nellie's?
Jets.
Yeah.
No, Nellie's is like New York style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's good, dude.
I like it all. Obviously, I mean, I'm a specimen of what's good to eat.
Now that we're talking about pizza, I want to cut on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then watch it and eat pizza.
That'd be cool.
We should just have it playing in the background and just talk. What are they doing, man?
One of them's in the sewer again. I think they came in after I got a little older. I didn't watch the Turtles.
Dude, tell me about. I want to know how your concert was. You went to a concert now that they're doing them again.
Yeah, it was.
What was that like? Because I'm skeptical, man.
Dude, it was great. No one.
Did they do temp checks or any what?
Nah.
Any code?
We rode in on our motorcycle, man, and they just wave you right through.
They even check if you had a ticket.
Yeah, we held up our phone. Yeah, that's true. We did stop right there, and they beeped our phone, and we just rode right through the gate. And I love that place, man.
It's a really cool place. Maryville, Tennessee.
Maryville, yeah.
Dude, I met a guy at a wedding from Maryville, Tennessee. Bro, he's from Maryville, Tennessee. And I said, oh, the Shed, man. I said, that place is so cool, man. And he's never heard of it.
Yeah.
And he goes, where is it? I said, it's in Maryville, Tennessee. It's the only thing that's in Maryville, Tennessee. And I'm surprised you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Dude, it's awesome.
It is.
Smoky Mountain Harley Davidson, is that still what it's called?
Yeah. And I remember that place has been there forever. I grew up in East Tennessee, and
then it literally is a Shed right next door. And their food around there is good too.
Oh,
they have
we ate there at their
Did you go both nights? You went to see Blackberry Smoke.
Yeah, we just went Friday night. But it was wide open. I mean, it was like COVID's over.
Did you see any masks?
My youngest son wore.
Well, I mean, besides you guys, did you?
No, I didn't wear a mask. Dude, I'm telling you, I have been vaccinated up, got both of my shots. I'm past the 2-week period. COVID is officially over for me until it starts coming back and I have to get my booster. But for now, COVID's over for me. And I'll still be respectful.
Well, how do you think the shows are going to be?
It was killer, dude. I'm
But I
telling
mean,
you.
what about like? I mean, that's in Maryville though. That's like out there. Like, how do you think it's going to be when you get into Nashville at one of the most liberal venues? You know, maybe outside of like Carnegie Hall or something. Like, you think it's going to be weird? Like their restrictions. Like, I had a buddy that went down there not too long ago, and he said they weren't even serving beer.
What? What's that got to do with anything?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
That it didn't. It never made sense to me why the bars closed at 10 o'clock in Nashville. I mean, I don't drink and I don't go to
Well,
bars.
I think a lot of that stuff got to where it didn't make sense, man. Like they
That's
were just
just-
like arbitrarily just making things up. This is what we think will.
I don't know, bro. I just know that didn't make any sense. I mean,
Dude, they wrote my buddy a ticket. He owns a bar downtown Nashville in Printers Alley.
yeah.
Wrote him a ticket for somebody in there dancing. It's like a $2,000 ticket.
Wrote him the ticket?
Yeah, he's a business owner. He wrote him the
Dude.
ticket for dancing.
Well, he wasn't dancing. One of his patrons were. What's up with that?
I don't know, man. I guess no
Dude.
fun. I guess fun caused COVID. They didn't want people down there having. It doesn't. It didn't make any sense, bro.
Well, a lot of it did, and you know that me and my family were cautious. I mean,
yeah.
my health and my wife's
And you have a
mother lives with us, who's
yeah.
in her late 70s, so we were precautious. I just felt like we needed to do what.
Did you wear 2 masks?
No, I never did do that.
I almost think they did that just to screw with people. I swear.
I know you.
Like, hey, let's just see if they'll do it.
Sure. I pray that people have better.
Somebody's got to sense it. See if they'll do 2.
I pray
See if they'll do 2, man.
people
Just
got
say it. Just say
better
it. I'll give you
things to do.
$20. It was over $20. Hey, those people. You know, I don't know, man. I don't even really want to talk about that stuff. It's so icky.
Oh, I know it is. I'm just glad it's over, and I don't want to think.
Because there's
about
so
it.
many just weird things that happened with the like toilet paper shortages.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was just weird.
Bro, I got into it with a guy in a.
Imagine that.
He was filming, man. It was like a Saturday morning.
I remember this. Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with my daughter, and it was right at the beginning where people were getting scared of toilet paper, and so we were gonna go to Costco, get a bundle,
Yeah.
and just be cool. So we're standing in line, and this guy's in front of me, and he's just like filming the line. And so like I just kind of let it go, and then he like kept doing it again, and was like, I was like, hey man, I was like, could you not do that, bro? Like, it's kind of rude. And he's like, oh, I'll just cut you out of it. I'll just cut you out. I said, man, do you think these people are glad that they're having to stand out here and wait for this toilet paper or wait for whatever they're trying to get in here that they're worried about not being able to get? You think we're happy about being out here doing this?
Yeah.
I said, nobody wants to be filmed, dude. I said, it's selfish, bro.
Yeah. Cell phones have made everyone a reporter.
And then I grabbed my phone. My daughter still does this. She will snort and laugh and not be able to get through it. And she said, like, I just picked my phone up. I'm like, hey, look at me. Facebook Live 2020. Can't get any toilet paper. Look at me filming him. Look at dude with the suit. And just was holding my phone, acting like I was filming him, just to show him how ridiculous it was. But like I tell that story because I think it really symbolizes like how much that stuff was really boiling over, man. Like I think we really saw our vulnerabilities as a society.
Yeah.
And how quickly it can just turn into just like just two sides, just hate.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah.
I call it I think it's a social media Chernobyl, bro. Like I think that there were so many people that were channeled into their little sides that they could just be fed whatever kept them just ticked off, whatever kept them agitated and mad and coming back for more. That's really what, you know, that Social Dilemma is talking about. That's what the documentary, that's what that Hate Inc. book is all about. It's just, how can we keep you coming back scared, wanting to know what you need to be scared about tomorrow, over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah. What is it about that? People.
Well, it's money, because they've siloed you in and they can advertise to you. That's the way they frame it up in the Social Dilemma.
Yeah.
And you know, really, they did that back in the '80s with like A&E and MTV and BET, and
Yeah,
they were
that's true.
just sectioning people off.
Yeah.
Get the young people.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
That's totally true.
A lot of it, you know, and a lot of this stuff you could talk about forever, and they're very complex problems. But I really do believe, and this is a pretty biblical concept, that if you're getting your own house in order, like what you have going on, you know, you're the only one that can affect your life.
That's right.
And like, why are we worried about all these other things?
Right. What's going on over in Israel. Now, there are people tuned into that. They're watching every little thing that happens over there. And I just don't have the time to worry about it. I know what's going on over there, and I think war sucks, but that's not going to dominate my time. I got to worry about what's going on at my street, what's going on at my house, what's going on in my neighborhood. That's what means the most, but it's also what I can impact. I can't impact what's going on in Israel. Them people's been fighting over there forever.
They really have.
I mean, they've been fighting since Bible times, and they're still fighting. And, I think that a lot of people look into that and they're wanting to see some kind of prophecy fulfilled or something. I don't know, but there seems to be, the news seems to use Israel to sell commercials, it appears to me.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I mean, Israel's just another country. And my street is what I can
think
impact.
that was May 14th.
What was?
The day they became a country. I think that's right.
May 14th?
I think so.
1940.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
I mean,
I went to Davidson County schools, bro.
Yeah. 1947, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's getting around the time my parents were born, so those dates.
Well, I think, I definitely think people need to pay attention to, like, dangers,
Yeah.
I think you need to know, hey, the country is divided, very divided. Like, that's a thing to know. But, I mean, do you have to watch the cycle on it?
Right.
12 hours a day.
Over and over, yeah.
About the newest school shooting.
Right. Or the...
And a lot of that stuff is selectively picked. Like, there's more stuff that goes on than's on the news. Like, that's easy to rationalize out.
We watched a documentary on who was the owner of Fox News? He's dead now. Was it Rupert Murdoch? I don't know.
I don't remember his name.
I don't remember either, to be honest. But it shows just what's behind the scenes of the news. We want to look at it as face value and think, oh, these people are reporting, the news. They're telling us what happened today. And we watch it and think we're just watching what happened today, but we don't realize there's rhetoric intertwined in it, and they're feeding us, whatever it is. I mean, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but news is always slanted. It's always slanted.
Yeah, and I mean, wherever that's being driven from, it just has to be that they want to push our society in a certain direction.
Yeah, I mean...
And I don't even have the mental capacity or desire to even want to think through that. Like, I really don't care, because I can't, like you were saying earlier, like, I can't affect that. I can't, there's nothing I can do. I can guard myself from that and know that the information, like I was telling you earlier, I'm on this just tirade, bro, of books, and just, I don't know what's going on, man. I really don't. I just can't get enough.
That's great.
And I just read
Your
this.
Your mind's a sponge.
It is. I feel like a child again. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's seeing my kids, man. I think there's something to that. You said that earlier, bro. Like, people say it this way, like, you aim to raise your kids, but your kids end up raising you. But it's almost like you get reminded of what's actually important.
Absolutely.
Like, we all know the people that are trying to shoot up through whatever ranks at their company at what they don't understand the expense, like, you might look, I don't know, dude. I've seen people that I know have lost their families from chasing the job,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too.
And it's not worth it.
Absolutely not.
And I'm not knocking on anybody that has aspirations to do well in a company. I think anybody that tries to further their position and have more means, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But when it gets into at the sacrifice of your family,
that's right.
That, you can't do that. And it's I think it's obvious. And I don't know, man. So you start seeing in your kids the important pieces of life. Like you see your kids drawing and, doodling and
Yeah.
thinking and telling stories and pretend.
Yeah.
And it's fun, man.
It
Like
is.
sometimes when I'm putting my kids to bed, I'll just make something up. I'm like, hurry, there's a snowstorm coming. We got to get under here and then we're all just that. Like, why do we have to feel like as adults that we can't be imaginative and fun?
Yeah, we lose a lot of that as we get older.
Well, I think people get scared, man. You got a lot of people that look how stupid he looks. Look at blah blah blah, and just bust you down.
You're right there.
And then you just chip away at these beautiful little diamonds, and then they just become just a little egg or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just nothing of what it started out to be.
Wouldn't it be a cool place to live if we just allowed everybody to just be who they want to be?
Yeah, but
I mean,
there's probably some people that don't want to wipe their butt or something, though, bro. You
know
got to have
what I
rules.
mean.
Like you
You
got to
know
wipe
what
your butt.
you know what I mean. I mean,
I think there's a romanticism to that, though, bro. That I really do think there's a harsh reality. I agree with what it is a travesty that we can't do that.
Yeah.
Like we would all agree that it would be great if everybody could just live in peace. But I do think there are some people, man, that just they live in chaos and can't get the chaos out of their life. Or the dark side of humanity, whether that's greed or whatever, they see an opportunity to gain power over someone else.
Right.
Like we would have to solve those pieces.
I didn't want to hash it out tonight. I just
No.
Wouldn't it be a wonderful
it'd be cool.
experience
Yeah,
if
for
we
sure.
all just got along and that us and
Why
them
can't we be friends?
that us and them mentality.
But see, I think we got that here going on, man. We just got to chill. Everybody just needs to relax. I'm serious, man. I just everything sucked, bro. Like last year sucked. It was stressful.
It was stressful,
times,
but man, it was a great it was a good family time for us.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We internalized a little bit there and just had each other, and we're glad.
Yeah,
to
and I
have
said
each
that
other.
earlier. Like you got focused. Like it was of what's important.
It's almost like a reprieve. God gave everyone a reprieve. Everybody's gonna have to rest. And man, we're like, okay, this is cool. But then after just a little bit, I think a lot of us just got over it. It's just,
dude, I think a bunch of companies probably realized that it's a good thing too. You know, like the company we work for, they already had people that work from home.
right.
But then they expand that. Like I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, think about the genius of that. Then you're not buying coffee cups and coffee and filters and
Right.
everything else. You can start saving money and put it on other pieces.
Yeah, they were doing it before, and even statistically, told us as employees the turnover rate is lower. People are more satisfied with their job, and so yeah, we were doing it before, even before the pandemic, which I think was cool. You know, you get upset at something going on at work, and you want to find another job, and then you think about having to get up and take a shower and get dressed and scrape the windshield and then fight the traffic into Brentwood or Nashville or wherever it is. It's just a reality check, bro. It's a blessing.
No, I agree. Do you feel like it increases your effort? Like, do you feel like, or loyalty in any way?
Yeah, I think it does.
I do too.
I think it does, because it's like,
It's
hey,
like they respect me enough
right,
to allow me to work here and trust me, like all that encompasses that.
right.
Like they're not asking me to tell them, push this button and tell me you're going to the bathroom and then come back.
Right.
Like we get that respect.
Right.
And, I will say this, man, like our type position that, what we do, like getting some form of respect as an adult in your job, it's important.
Yeah, it is. Everybody needs a purpose. Even a dog needs a purpose.
Well, and even beyond that, man, I think you need to be empowered to where you feel like you're trusted.
Right.
I think that is a piece that a lot of companies miss. They're almost like distrusting of you.
Right.
Like,
and
make sure you clock in, clock out, so you're not lying.
It almost forces you to find ways to
Correct.
show them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's very nice.
Because you're being treated as a
feel
widget.
trusted, right? Instead
Correct.
of, yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
But man, I'm sure companies are having to adjust all over the place,
Oh,
man.
man.
Can you imagine Ticketmaster, dude? Like when COVID hit and then
Oh,
all the
yeah.
shows get canceled, what did they do?
Oh, I bet a lot of people got laid off or lost their jobs.
Yeah, because people weren't buying tickets. They weren't
No.
calling in for customer support.
No, that's right.
Are you going to? You got any shows coming up? Are you buying any? Like there's like 1,000 concerts that got announced this week. I think.
Oh, did they this? I haven't checked.
Bro,
this
everybody
week.
announced. Like 1,000 bands announced tours.
Yeah, I keep watching for like those bands that I have to see every year that come through. You know, Government Mule.
I got. I got Steve Roll tickets.
Oh, good for you,
Jockey.
man.
Yeah,
Good for you.
ramen tickets, and then I'm gonna take my girls to see him in Montgomery.
Oh,
But Los Lobos is opening both shows.
man, you like them.
Yes. Yeah. I had a chance to see them, man, but they were playing at that like golf range up in Nashville. Have you ever been to a show at that place?
No, my son has. He went and saw some group there.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. It was some little like new rock band or whatever.
Yeah, and they were really good. Something Honey. I can't think of the name of it.
Something Honey. That was probably it.
Dirty
right there.
Honey
Dirty
or-
Honey.
I think that was it. But anyway, they were pretty good. But yeah, just one of those.
So what are you
bands
listening
out
to?
there.
Like what are you jamming on right now? Did you listen to their new record, Blackberry?
Oh yeah, it was not came out yet.
I thought it
comes out-
did.
I think it's the 28th.
Oh.
The Black Keys was the 14th, I think. I've heard a couple of cuts off of it, and man, they're just great. I just love that band.
Black Keys.
No, well,
Oh,
them
Blackberry.
too. Yeah, man, the Black Keys. They were. There was a time that they were all I listened to. I mean that was it, because with Spotify, I was able to go by and just go back and just I felt like I was kind of getting caught up on the Black Keys, and so it was all I listened to forever. And Magic Potion's still my favorite album by them.
It's good.
That's a man.
It's like their Zeppelin too, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
It's very rock.
It's got a lot of grit to it, attitude, and it's a
Yeah,
great
I don't know if I
album.
could say what my favorite is. I don't know. I'd have to
Yeah.
really think. I like that the last one, Let It Rock or whatever.
Yeah,
I like it pretty well.
yeah,
But I like Rubber Factory a lot too, man.
yeah. I do too.
I like Magic Potion a lot.
I love that album, man. There's some just songs that are just wow, just powerful. Good
Did you
stuff.
like his solo records?
No, I didn't care for him too much. I totally respect him as an artist, but with the Black Keys, he's. I've told this to you before. I don't really like to hear men sing falsetto. Yeah, unless you're Prince. Now he pulled that off. Prince could sing
He
falsetto.
wore purple clothes.
Bro, I'm telling you that performance.
Did you ever see him?
No, I didn't. That performance though at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with George Harrison's boy and Tom Petty and Jeff Lynne.
Yes, dude. Where he
Dude.
throws the guitar over his head.
Bro,
Rock and Roll Music Hall of Fame
yeah,
performance, I think.
I'm telling you, at that moment, it was. If you've not seen that, anyone listening who's not seen
While my guitar gently weeps.
it, and it's been re-released. I meant to send you a copy of that. The guy who filmed it, he's released some new angles of it, and I always wondered, did
the dude catch the guitar?
no, they don't show that part. But anyway, I was wondering, did Tom and Jeff and them, kind of feel like he was trying to upstage them
Yeah.
or something? I
Yeah, my
always-
dad felt that way.
Yeah.
He thought that he was showing off and that he wasn't supposed to keep soloing, but he did. And you kind of see Tom Petty's face.
Yeah. Well, in this new release, it shows a different angle, and it shows them, and they're egging him on. They're enjoying it, and I was so thankful to see that, because I just thought that
You
was,
see Tom Petty kind of stunned for a second, like, wait, what? Like something wasn't the way it was supposed to be. You saw him
yeah,
do like that.
yeah. But then it's like he tells him with the other angle, do another bar, do it again, keep going.
Did he like lean back into that guy?
Man, yeah.
He's like holding him up.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that is one of those moments, bro. That's like Elvis on the Ed Sullivan Show. That's a powerful moment in rock and roll. Prince was bad. I'm telling you, that dude in the '80s. I mean, that's what we were listening to, cruising the streets of Newport, Tennessee. Boy, we was listening to
Prince?
Prince. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Well, where'd you guys get into that? Like, were they playing on the
local
radio?
Knoxville radio? They were playing. That's how I heard it. Was through Knoxville radio. Yeah, and but anyway, yeah, we really liked him for a while. Then when he got into it with his record company, his music kind of got odd.
He got weird.
Yeah, he did. But dude, he's a musician. He is. He was a piece of work. And then Tom Petty too. Gosh, that man, to me, Tom Petty and Greg Allman dying, they hurt like we knew each other or something.
Yeah, I don't really remember. I wasn't up on Greg Allman when he passed away, but I remember when Tom Petty passed away. Like, it still bothers me now, man. You just feel like he wasn't done. He had more.
Oh, I know.
He had more stuff to put on us.
Yeah, he was a great songwriter. My wife loves him. That's her favorite. She loves Tom Petty. I'm so glad we got to see him. We had just started working together, and you was telling me some more seats opened up. He had come to Tampa and to Orlando a couple of times when we lived down there, but it just never worked out. It was either always.
Dude, I got to see him at the Ramen.
Tom Petty. That had to be magical, man.
Dude, I got 2 Tom Petty signed records, bro.
That's cool.
I'll show them to you.
That's cool.
But Mudcrutch, did you ever listen to that stuff?
I did, and
so I got to see Mudcrutch first before I ever got to see Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Really?
Yeah, like I was into other stuff, man. I was really into Neil Young and the Black Crowes, and and Steve Earle and Sun Volt and all that, and it just took me a minute to get to Tom Petty. Like, I remember him coming to Nashville, like the Mojo tour, and it was just, you're having to pick and choose what you go to, and so. Yeah, then he's going to do the Mudcrutch thing. And I go see him in Chicago. I saw him in Nashville, and I saw him in Atlanta. And
you were in them, weren't you?
Oh, man. Dude, those 2 Mudcrutch records, I'm a huge Byrds fan. So you were asking me about my son. His name's Byrd, B-Y-R-D. And he's named after the Byrds. And a lot of people like to define music history by the Beatles.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of unfair. It's unfair to some of the U.S. artists that I think were also influencing music.
Right.
But it's just not romanticized in this, like, Wizard of Oz kind of way like the Beatles are.
Right.
So, like, I've historically kind of crapped on the Beatles, too. Like, right place, right time kind of band. And I've drawn some of that back a little bit. I do think they were insanely talented. I do. But I also think, man, you have people like the Byrds that have been long-term more influential on American artists because they were interpreting even what was happening with the Beatles and what was happening with Dylan and put it in this Americana kind of way.
Yeah. Which
is very much the band, Bruce Springsteen in some kind of way, I think. But the reason I'm saying that is Mudcrutch was Tom Petty's Byrds. Like, that's what they're doing. They're doing that California country Bakersfield sound, but those shows were cool, man. They were really, really cool. And I mean, at the Ramen, dude, we were like, I think I was in the first row pews on the right, and so fantastic, man.
Yeah, wasn't that his band when he was younger, and then he got big with the Heartbreakers?
Yeah, like Skinner opened for him.
Yeah, and then
they fired like a couple of dudes that looked weird or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And then later on, after Tom Petty got popular, he reunited with that old band, right?
Bro, are you into the Eagles?
I used to be, not anymore. I listened to all their hits about 1,000,000 times and kind of moved on.
See, I think they kind of rip. They are okay. If ELO is the follow-up to the Beatles. Like, if someone came along and picked up where the Beatles left off and kept going, if I had to say what band that was, I would say that's ELO.
That's interesting.
I think that the Eagles are like the Walmart of the Byrds. Like, they're like the complete commercialization of, like, that sound. And I can't deny that some of those songs are really good, man. They really are. But there were other bands before that. Like, even some of them I think that were in the Eagles were in Poco. Do you remember that band, Poco?
Mm-mm.
There were these kind of like newgrass kind of bands that were rising up out of the Byrds, and yeah, man, I just think the Eagles commercialized some of that. Their albums aren't good. Like, Hotel California is insane.
Right, but the rest of them, there's
no deep tracks.
Right.
There's nothing.
Man, that's why I appreciate bands like Skinner and the Allman Brothers. Every song on the album is killer.
Bro, I texted a buddy of mine the other day that we've been kind of bickering about the. I say bickering. It's fun to me. I love doing this. But like I said, dude, would you okay if in a draft of bands, you had to either take Skinnerd or the Eagles, which one would you take? Like, would you take the Eagles over Skinnerd, bro? And he said yes, and I almost fell out.
That's when I'd have told him, look, we can't be friends anymore. Our friendship is over.
Why is that? I mean, Skinnerd hits something there.
Man,
they really do.
Was that guy from the South?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But, man, that stuff, I'm seasonal with them. There's times, I am with Led Zeppelin, too. I'll listen to them like hardcore for a while, and then I'm done with them for a while, and then,
But, like, I've never had a Skinnerd song come on and me go, oh, man, I don't want
Not again.
If it is, though, it's Curtis Lowe. You know, I don't like that song.
Yeah. When I was younger, I just thought that was the coolest song. I know every word of that song, and I don't listen to lyrics very much in a song. I'm all about the rhythm. But, yeah, I can hear, what's the one about heroin addiction? Got off the airplane crying, and Mom said,
You're not
Needle and Spoon.
Needle and Spoon.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, that song comes on. That riff at the beginning, it just tears me up. On the Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, when that comes on.
Saturday Night Special.
Yeah. It's like, gear up, guys. We got to put on the...
Think about where they were coming from, man. Like, surely they were some sort of church influences or whatever going on in some of those dudes' lives, and how raw those dudes were to just come out singing about, like, heroin.
Yeah.
And whiskey bottles, brand new cars.
Oak tree, you're in my way.
Too much coke and too much smoke. I mean, that's crazy. Look, that's Trailer Park, bro. I mean, they're singing about like some serious stuff that we've seen.
Yeah.
Like, is that why it resonates so hard with like
I think
us?
so. Yeah, I think so. Gritty South. There's Southern
DBT
rock.
hits that.
Yeah, they do big time. Yeah, they were portraying the dirty South, just grit. Hot. I mean, Gainesville, Florida, right? Florida's hot. It's hot all the time.
I thought they're from Tallahassee.
Is it Tallahassee?
I don't know.
Well, Tallahassee's not hot. I guess it isn't. Anyway, they have.
It might be hot.
Well, yeah.
I bet there's a.
They experience some kind of seasons up that part.
That's basically southern Alabama.
Yeah,
southern Georgia.
It really is. It really is.
Bro, there's some small places out there. Waycross, Georgia.
Yeah.
What's the place in Florida that we had to go to? Did you go there? It's like close to like Witchy Watchy or.
Oh no, I didn't go to that. That up near Tampa, right?
It's kind of close to Gainesville. I can't think of the name.
Camp Witchy Watchy.
Of
Man, there's places in Florida there is nothing. I mean, it's just desolate.
Did you know the ones that kill me? Are you familiar with like there's like that blue hole or whatever, like dive hole where the guys will go and they have like manatees and stuff that swim up there, but those guys will free dive down into like a cave and
that stuff
that makes my feet sweat.
I ain't about that. It makes me kind of nauseated.
I can't deal with people talking about getting stuck.
I'm too buoyant anyway.
I don't do water, bro, and I don't do like dangerous stuff. Like I don't skydive or any of that.
No, I want to skydive. I'd love to skydive. Just because I want to punk myself,
Punk yourself. Why don't you take a cold shower or something like this? Something that doesn't kill you.
Dude, I'm telling you
you can punk yourself in a whole lot of different ways besides smacking the ground because some hipster on pot forgot to click your little belt or something.
This debate is
look, you don't tell me. No,
it's futile. Because I looked it up, there are weight limits to skydiving.
Oh,
so
I'm already
So I can talk that crap. Yeah, I like to skydive, but I'm too fat. But I don't think I could. We went snorkeling when we were in Key West, dude, and I about drowned. I ain't playing. It was rough. I thought it was gonna be just, I saw the commercial.
How long ago was this? You saw the commercial. What? You were on a commercial drowning?
No, I saw the commercial of the snorkelers, and it was, this big, beautiful moment. And dude, the water was choppy, and the water kept coming in the top of my snorkel. And
bro, I watched the thing where these buttholes got left. Listen, bro.
Can you imagine?
No, I don't have to imagine. I watched the thing on it. Dude. So this dude and his wife, and they go on this diving trip off of Australia, and they go down and they come back up and there's no boat.
No way.
They freaking left them. Dig this.
Was it in Key West?
No, this is in Australia.
Australia. Okay.
They go back. They go. I'm gonna knock that over. They go and come back out the next day, and before they ever even realized they had left somebody, but the people died.
I bet, because
something. It took them forever before any remains were ever found. I don't think they actually ever found them, but they found their gear, so they think maybe they just took their gear off. But they said that was actually probably the fatal mistake, that they could have lasted another day or so and may have been found if they had kept their gear on, because they would have floated. Yeah. But man, you can drift really far. Like the longer you're out there, the harder it is for them to actually pinpoint where you are. It's crazy. But yeah, can you imagine just coming up
and then
no boat? I just wonder. See, it makes my feet sweat, man, thinking about having to do all the.
I bet they wanted a refund.
They did.
We get our refund.
I just don't jack with the danger, man. Did you? I mean, have you done? Did you used to do anything like that? Bungee jump, any of that kind of stuff?
No, I never would bungee jump. I did.
I got my limits, man.
I did when I was a teenager. Some buddies of mine, we drank some beer, and they got this idea they were going to jump off the bridge down at the lake. And
how high was it?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I would be speculating. It felt like 50 feet, but it's probably like 8. No, it's probably 20 feet, maybe 30. But I wasn't gonna do it, man. As a child, I was always scared, but they pressured me a little bit, but not too much. I want to overcome my fears.
Do you think it's even right to call it scared? Or do you think it was you were smart and you knew that was dumb?
Well, that was probably dumb, but I think it was something in my life that I finally said, okay, I'm tired of being scared of everything, and I'm going to do this. It's going to be fine. I just watched them do it. So I did it. And if you ever jump off a bridge, tighten the back door.
Yes, sir.
Because if not, then you'll get an instant colon cleansing. Because that was my experience of jumping off a bridge. So when my mom said, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge?
Yes, Mom, yeah, I probably would.
I have. But, dude, it was like you were talking about common sense. I still had the common sense, because then they went over to the girders of the interstate bridge, and they climbed up on the girders and jumped off the girders. Now, that's definitely, I don't know, 50 to 100 feet. And I said, no, I'm going to sit over in the bank, see if I can catch my breath from that enema I got from jumping in this small bridge. So I wasn't a dare. I didn't like roller coasters. I had to make myself.
I love roller coasters.
Man, you want me to tell you when I started riding roller coasters? Was when Eli, my oldest son, was probably about 6, 7. And we were at a theme park. And we had gone up to visit up at Dollywood, was the theme park we were at. And my son wanted to ride a roller coaster. And I was like, oh, gosh, I hate roller coasters, man. I just hate them. It's that drop, and the heavier you are, the more you feel the gravity. And it gives me an anxiety attack coming off the bottom side. It's like I can't breathe, man. My friend Danny Ray, he said, you want your boy thinking his daddy's scared of roller coasters? Dude, I had to grow up. I had to hop on that roller coaster. Now
Daddy can't be scared of anything.
I'll ride any roller coaster now. I'm not scared of roller coasters anymore. But them things where people go up them things and they go way up high, and then all of a sudden it just free falls for a little bit. Dude, I ain't about that. I don't need that in my life.
I ain't about the free fall life, bro.
I don't need that
I
in my
learned
life.
everything I know about free fall from Tom Petty.
That's exactly right. I don't need that.
They have a really cool theme park in that Mall of America. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Up in Minnesota?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool. We went up there, took my kids on. They have a log ride that's pretty sick.
Oh, really? I used to love a log ride. They had
Do you
one at
remember?
Dollywood.
Do you remember Opryland?
Yeah, we used to come down to the Opryland.
Yes, sir.
The Cannonball Express.
Screaming Delta Demon.
I don't remember that one.
Bro, the Screaming Delta Demon, when you first came in the park, you go to the left. It was the one that was like the luge. It was like in the half
yeah, I remember that.
And you rode in the, I love that, bro.
Yeah.
And then they had the Little Deuce Coupe. And then they had the Wabash Cannonball. That's the one that like did the
That's
double
the one
flip.
I was thinking of there. What did I say a minute ago?
The
Cannonball Express is what I said. Wabash Cannonball.
They had the Wabash Cannonball, and it was right next to the what's the Dixie Cups? The the little ones where you get in there and
spin.
The place was. Why did they close that, man?
I've always wondered that because it was the park seemed.
Somebody had somebody's daughter tied up in a basement somewhere because that mall is not cooler than
Opryland.
No, they used to have like the Halloween out there. You remember where they would do like the
no, because we lived in East Tennessee. We would get to Opryland about once every couple of years tops. We didn't get down there much.
But yeah, they had the Hangman. I think that one went to Dollywood.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, the Hangman was the one with it was 2 seats where your feet hung out.
Yeah.
It was cool. I don't know, man. We always had season passes, and my mom would take me and my brother and just drop us off. Come get us.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun. We'd sit there and ride everything all day.
I bet you would, yeah. That's a cool place to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for y'all.
I mean, mall, not so much.
Yeah, well, yeah. Imagine if she was dropping you off at the mall to hang out.
Do you know I was at Sherwin-Williams? They had that Nashville flood, and they totally repainted that place afterwards. And I actually sold all the paint for the ceilings and a lot of the shops in there too.
You're talking about the Ryman?
No, that mall.
Oh, yeah, that's right over there by the river.
Yeah. It flooded.
You ever rode that riverboat down there?
Yep.
Have you?
Yep.
We've always wanted to.
That was the first date I ever asked my wife on.
Is that right?
Yeah, so they used to have, when we were in college, we didn't have fraternities or sororities. We had social clubs.
Yeah.
And it was a Christian college, Freed Hardeman. And so, yeah, we were in the same social club, and we had like a formal at the end of the year, and it was called Riverboat. And so you came to Nashville, and you had a date, and they gave out awards. And,
yeah. Oh, that's cool.
You know, I was probably sitting there thinking about getting out of there listening to Alice Cooper or something. Dude, me and her used to listen to Alice Cooper radio show all the time. I love Alice Cooper, man.
I think he's a cool dude.
He's weird.
Yeah, well,
or maybe he's not. Well, I don't know. Maybe he's just eccentric.
He's into theatrics, is what I think it is. Because off the stage, he's a normal guy. You know, he's active in his church.
Yeah, his dad's like a preacher or something, isn't he? Was that my ice maker?
I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, bro, Joe Rogan doesn't have an ice maker in his studio. I'm just saying.
Well, that's what makes this show cool.
Yeah.
Because at this moment, we know ice is being made.
And we're not doing it.
No. That's right.
It's progress.
Hey, let's go back to FM radio a minute. If you don't mind.
Let's go. I have all kinds of opinions about FM radio.
Because I still listen to the radio. We were talking about that earlier. And
do you enjoy it?
No, I usually get pretty aggravated.
Then why do you do it?
There's something about that connection. I remember as a teenager, that's where you heard about the concerts, anything that was coming to town in Knoxville in particular. It was on the radio, and that's how it was kind of our Facebook of the day. It kept us all connected. We knew what was going on.
That's all you do is sit around listening to the radio.
That's right. Hey, man, cruise the streets of Newport, baby.
You need to be reading 1st and 2nd Thessalonians and stop listening to the radio.
That's a great voice, by the way.
Thank you.
But I and now today, I mean, there are shows, like you were talking about, there are so many shows in Nashville. There's concerts going on. Well, before COVID, there were shows all the time.
Do you think people are going to go back, though, man?
Yeah.
Like, you think they're just going to, like, nothing happened?
I think so.
Do you really?
I think
I don't think so. I really don't.
I think it's going to take some people a couple of months to see that it's okay. But up in the shed last weekend, dude, that place was packed. People were ready to rock and roll.
But see, they hit a spot where everything hadn't come back yet. What I'm afraid of is everybody is going to want to tour. So back before COVID, everybody wasn't trying to tour at the same time. You know, you'd have like Tedeschi Trucks would do 1 year, or in May,
Yeah.
and then Jason Isbell or whoever would be kind of in that same line would do a little later. But now everybody's gonna be trying to tour like now and get their money now, because I would say a lot of these artists are hurting, man.
Yeah, they are. But if you don't have an album to support, I mean, that's another
Who's
thing.
got an album to support? Nobody's putting anything out.
Blackberry Smoke.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, the
But,
Black Keys.
Jason Isbell doesn't have a new album.
I know, so why tour?
Fish doesn't have a new album.
Put
I
your
don't know.
album out, dude. You've had this.
Yeah,
whole
what are y'all
time.
doing?
Yeah,
They're
you
probably
had-
doing everything we were doing, watching Game of Thrones and
Wearing
listening to
masks.
the new Black Keys
Yeah,
record.
seeing what Dr. Fauci had to say. Yeah, my
Dude,
kid,
I
my
do have
kid
mad
was-
respect, and you said this. I'm stealing this from you, but I do have mad respect for the people that put out music during COVID,
Yeah, me too.
and
We needed it, dude. I tell you how bad we needed it was. I became a NASCAR fan again, for real. There was no sports, no new shows on TV. I got a wonderful life. I'm living the dream over there, baby. Watching sports TV. That's what we do over there. But there was nothing for entertainment. No concerts to go to. Nothing. But NASCAR could race because there's no contact.
as long as they stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah, I mean, they're in cars. And so it was something to watch that was live. And see, that's with FM.
Did they have fans there?
No, they just started allowing fans a couple of months ago. And it was not full house, but this race up by my house, it's
The Nashville race?
June something. It's Father's Day, but anyway, it's sold out. Yeah,
That's
they
insane.
said, yeah, we selling that out. They ain't been a race there in like 10 years. I'm looking forward
It's
to
a shame, man.
it. It is.
I feel like there's a few mismanaged things like that around Nashville.
yeah.
That's one of them. The convention center, that was kind of a
Oh, yeah.
fiasco at the time. And then Opryland.
Fiasco. Sad. That's what it is. Opryland. I've got fond childhood memories of that place.
I did too, man.
I like
Why are they oppressing us and taking Opryland
for
from
real.
us?
They're just taking
That's
our
my
joy.
heritage.
Taking our joy. It's my heritage.
Opryland was my heritage, and y'all stole it from me.
That's right.
I'm gonna need compensation. Do you ever go out to that mall?
When we first moved here, we did.
Are you like a Bass Pro Shop guy?
Used to be. Used to do a lot of outdoor stuff, hunting, fishing.
Hunting, fishing,
Hunting.
cussing, dipping. It all ends with IN. Drinking.
Yeah. I used to go to Bass Pro all the time. And my kids loved that place, man. The stuffed animals, the mounted game on the wall and stuff. They loved that, and the big fish tank. We used to go to the one over in Sevierville. It was a field trip, man.
Dude, you got to go with me to the Catfish House in Springfield. You
I
ever
want to. You told me about it, and I tried to find it one time, and turned out I was in Portland. I
You're
was like-
close.
I said, we got to find that fish place. Craig kept
It's
talking about
close.
it.
It's not
Hey,
that
speaking
close.
of places to eat, have you eaten at this barbecue place down the street?
Which one?
I don't know, bro. It's on the way. It looks like a house or something.
No, I don't jack with that place.
Yeah.
I'm weird on barbecue, man. I lived in Memphis for a while, so I'm not a barbecue snob. It's just I've seen the light. And then where we travel, I've been to Franklin's, and I said that to somebody the other day, and they had no idea what I was talking about. But Franklin's is a barbecue place in Austin. And then, dude, there's that. Did you ever go to that smokehouse place in Dallas? That I raved about it. I forget the name of it now. It was Lockhart Smokehouse. Bro, you have never had brisket in your life. I'll put this on anything. You have never had brisket in your life until you've had it from Lockhart Smokehouse in Dallas, Texas. That place is nuts.
The best barbecue I've ever had was at Kansas City Joe's.
That's pretty good.
That's my favorite barbecue.
The best ribs I've ever had is Commissary in Memphis.
Yeah.
I don't jack with Rendezvous. I don't care what anybody says. I live there. I can say it. A Commissary's better. Tops is cool. Bro, I got a rib sandwich. This is how... Bro, I got a rib sandwich in Memphis from Tops, and they said, I kid you not, do you want it bone in or bone out? I was thinking, it's a sandwich. I'm going to be biting it with my teeth. You're going to hide some bones off in the bread. I don't know. So I got it bone out.
I would have been tempted to get the bone in just to see what
Why?
I just want to know how that works.
You probably get to it, pull it out, and keep going. I don't know why you would do that. I never thought through it.
It's just the whole experience.
Probably.
Pulling the meat off the bone.
Man, Memphis is one of my favorite places in this country for food, and I've been all over the place. I think California's food's whack. It's pretty tasty. Like you get some pretty fresh stuff out there, but they just don't have the style like we have. You know, like Memphis food is just real gritty, and then you go down to New Orleans. Everything down the Mississippi, man, is just so plush. Like Chicago has killer food.
Yeah.
You know, and then you come on down in Memphis and Memphis food, bro. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, soul food.
Yeah.
Get some soul food in Memphis too. Is there a soul food place in Nashville?
You got Sweats up by Fisk and TSU. That place is the bomb. Dan's. I guess Arnold's maybe. I like Sweats chocolate pie is so insane. Bro, first bite of their chocolate pie made my eyes water. It was so good. I'm not kidding. They're gonna have that stuff in heaven, my G. And then Dan's. Dude, like 2 of the 3 times I've ever been to Dan's, which is like on 8th Avenue. What is that? That's not 8th Avenue. It's like a Sherwin-Williams right there by the interstate, and then Dan's. Martina McBride's been in there like 2 or 3 times when I was in there.
Yeah.
But do people leave people alone in Nashville, man?
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's neat.
We've talked about that before. Yeah.
Yeah. The Star's just normal. And I think the reason is because most of the country music, and rock and roll stars too, they're just so approachable that they don't walk in with an entourage and draw attention to themselves. It's just normal.
Well, and I don't think people here in Nashville are trying to climb some kind of social ladder,
right?
Like they are in L.A. You
Yeah.
know, or what can
Yeah.
I? Hey, Martine, I love it. I got a friend that she's trying to, work for the industry. Like, can you give her some advice? Like, it's none of that. It's just like, oh, you're Martina McBride. I really don't care because I got to go back and do my job, and I'm not trying to do what you're
just
doing.
a person.
But then out in L.A., where most other famous people are, everybody out there is trying to do that same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you were talking about the rhyming a moment ago.
Yo, my phone's ringing, bro.
Well, mine's been blowing up too. Let's make
Should
sure.
we pause?
Let's make sure that there's not a.
Yo, this might be the end, but it might not be the end. I don't know.
We were talking about Israel. We may be in trouble. Maybe
Israel. They're like, hey guys, y'all are live streaming. Did you know that Israel?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, is Israel blowing us up? Is it?